no. Oh 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 yes. This is as far as I go. This is as far as I see. This is as far as I wait. This is as far as I. Freeman, 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 you fool! I can't take much more of this. Greetings, you fool!
Hello. Welcome to one of the best eras that I have had here on the Bug YT. I mean, also sorry in advance to anybody that is watching. I am eating food. I had just gone off work and I am very hungry. With that being said, woot woot. It is time for us to get started. I'm going to make sure my voice is heard. It is awesome. Let's get started with one of the most existential crisis shit I've ever had throughout this channel's life. Welcome to TF2Lover. Now, originally we did talk about this a while ago. Actually, I think it was like maybe a couple months. But here on TF2Lover, a lot has changed since I've last actually looked in. Now, last month I checked into it. This month is the month. I'm going to finally do the video on this, and this whole live stream is going to be based off that whole thing. Now, I have clips, I have bits, I have everything. I'm going to pull up actually the thing. None of you guys can see that. Piss off. I have everything I want to showcase with this live stream and understanding why exactly everything is going through. And yes, I do have dogs in here because they love me. So, without further ado, this whole live stream is going to be me explaining and theorizing what my thoughts are for TF2Lover and everything else. With the rest of the stream, I'm going to be focusing on main points that I think are interesting. And since as of yesterday, there has been some weird folder files. So, without further ado, let's get started. Now, I do also want to mention there is part 1 and a part 2. We will be watching part 2. But I'm only going to theorize the part 1 section and leave part 2 because, of course, it's not done. On top of that, there is also 2 other channels, Spooky Ghosts and Texas Wrangler 21. Both of these have been canonically put into what we want to call the family arc. Now, these are friends of TF2Lover, and this will be later on described. But we also have to watch this because it's a part of the series. And on top of that, we also, I think Texas Wrangler got a new thing. Nope, it has not since then. So let us get started with TF2Lover and its very, very, very first video named First Encounter. Medic! I think it's very interesting when we actually sit down. I'm going to stop real quick and go back. This first thing has always been probably the most interesting video in my entire time watching this. Only because of this part right here with the sniper. Now, of course, this is the first video. I don't want to throw any theories out. I also do have some screenshots from when I was playing Happy Humble Burger Farm, and I do want to make this clear. So hopefully we'll see that. So I think this first part is kind of interesting because the idea that this sniper is actually coming from God knows where and shooting at our friendly here. But what I do know is the fact case scenario that this is most likely TF2Lover. And what we notice is the fact case scenario that he kind of sits there and then he changes class. And we kind of actually see this. We see Scout right there and then he changes. So I think my original theory was like, oh, why is the Scout there? And I think I made that where like, oh, maybe this is a secondary person. I think it's to also kind of lay into like, oh, no, he's just changing class. And the sniper being there is just kind of like this taunting personality, I guess. The fact that it's also at the respawn point is very interesting to me because we don't really see anything like this again. But that doesn't mean anything. So with first encounter done, we're going to move on to second encounter, which is probably one of the most interesting videos. And I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to try putting these all on full screen just for sake of it. But I'm going to be muted throughout the videos just as a friendly reminder so people can watch it in peace instead of me stopping and be like, and we're going to move on. So this is second encounter. I do actually want to bring something up. Later on in the series, we'll see it, but there is something I do want to bring up, and that's like right here. So he ends up flying away, and something I just noticed. Hold on, I'm gonna have to like really slow that down. Something I just noticed, and you might be able to catch it. There's actually the sniper thing, like right, like once he passes, because like I made this originally. The sniper that's here at the beginning of the video isn't here after when he's flying away. But something I did notice, and I'm hopefully going to catch it, there's actually the sniper entity. He like goes through the wall and it's so sharp. I don't know if I can catch it. Oh yeah, I think I just saw it. It's somewhere in this range. He like passes right through the wall and you can just see it. I did just notice that. So the sniper entity might be here. Something interesting also about this video is the beginning. Now, if you listen, he hits metal. Now, this is 2 Fort, and 2 Fort is very, very controversial and not controversial. But on blue base is the only side that has a metal front and the metal walls, if I'm correct. But I think behind TF2Lover is wooden. I could be wrong. I haven't played TF2 Fort in like so fucking long. But if I'm correct, it's just like the red base. It's something we notice here after he gets done shooting. He looks around, and of course we see the sniper, but the red base is set up just like the blue base. So this is metal, and then the rest is all wood. So this sniper has been shooting either this or this. That doesn't mean it's hostile, but I want to keep this in mind as we move on throughout this whole thing. Unfortunately, there's not really a better way to go back and forth. I could just watch it, but I really don't want to. The next one is Spy Takes Flight. As soon as it wants to load with me. Hold on. Was that that last little bit of audio? that. I'm sorry. As a person who doesn't really know ARGs really good, or just like how to look at series like all together, it's really hard for me to tell you like what this is. I really hope somebody found this. But something else I want to mention is the spy here. The spy, I mean, of course, is probably an SFM animation, but we do know that the spy goes to the skies, and I hate Sniper. He's the worst class OP. Now, later on, I will bring this up as a relevant point, but for this episode in particular, I want to mention something. This whole section is echo. So whenever you're listening to TF2Lover, it's never really as echoey because you're mainly in close quarters. But during this animation, it's echoing. So this will be something that I do actually know. Audio is very important in this. And towards the end, we even actually see it with... And I honestly want to say that's something with an audio device, but who knows? Seriously, it's kind of hard to really state because we honestly don't know too... well, I don't know too much. I shouldn't be saying you guys. You guys are probably a lot smarter than I am. Now, the biggest episode that ever came, and this is definitely a question I had for the creator, but I didn't ask. Surprisingly, I feel stupid. Which is, do you hate the Half-Life incident being your most popular video? Because I have that same gripe on Bug. Bug has the runaway from Luigi one, and it's so stupid. And somehow it worked. It was just me dicking off the whole time on Gmail. But one question I didn't ask, which was this one, if I'm correct. I do have the screenshots, and I could showcase them. These are the screenshots I took from this. I'm going to pull these up a little bit later, but these are just really important for later on, of course. I'm going to actually pull them both up right now. Cool. Awesome. I have both of them pulled up. Yippee. Anyways. Moving on, the Half-Life incident. This is a very interesting video because it's the most viewed video ever on the channel, but definitely probably the most interesting since what we know of the first three. So let's check out. Now, I actually do want to bring some up. Something I kind of don't... Well, no, I can't say that. Something I find interesting is the fact that it uses the Half-Life 2 fast zombie. This part right here. If I'm correct, that's the fast zombie sound. And something interesting about this is there's also closed captioning. And you can actually look at it. I don't remember how to do it since it's been like, fuck, it's too long. But something to mention too is there is closed captioning for this. And what it actually really, it doesn't really bring anything to this. But I find it interesting because this whole thing is just here. It's the beginning of Half-Life after you exit the cart. But something interesting is this. Right now in the series, from what I do know, this has not been something we've seen at all. Even at the beginning, we've never seen something like this in such a way that's been like actually scary. And since this is also Half-Life, it's also interesting because this has not been seen as of yet on the channel until this exact moment. Something else I want to mention is the fact of the Half-Life 2 noise with Fast Zombie. This does mean it has access, whatever this thing is. It has access to other games, but maybe not as a realistic sense there. But even then, though, as you guys can see, the closed captioning doesn't even add anything. It just says, oh, 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 and that's it. So closed captioning here is kind of interesting. The fact case scenario that in this whole channel, we haven't actually seen it, but this being the first episode or video in this case, having it is pretty interesting. Also, I just saw this and oh my God, you motherfucker, Wayne. Anyways, on to the next thing. I just wanted to bring that part up because I think it's really interesting. Moving on, we are going to the Half-Life 2 gameplay. Now, I'm not going to showcase the whole bit, but there's not really much else to talk about. This is just Half-Life 2 gameplay that ends up happening. There is, if I'm correct, this might be one important thing here.
Today we're going to be playing Half-Life 2. Hopefully that thing didn't...
Something else I'm going to pause for my sake. Something else to mention is this is also the first time we've heard TF2Lover voice, and it sounds like a robot. It sounds like my robot. Hopefully that's not on. No. But it sounds like my robot, which is kind of like a little raspy, but anyways, yeah.
Funny you showing up on this day in particular.
Oh.
I have to stop. Shup. Didn't funny you shup particular follow. I'm turning that off.
Hold up. Yeah.
It's a dangerous route to my father's lab, through the old canals. Today, we're finally on the verge of having a better way. Here, let me buy you a drink. Oh, and by the way, it's nice to finally meet you.
Something else I do want to mention. This is also probably the first time he's played Half-Life 2. The only reason I know that is because if you look in the bottom right over here, when Alex opens up the door, there's a fucking achievement. I have to bring that up because the rest of this video is basically just kind of boring stuff, the talk, the little teleporter, yada, yada, yada. That's about it. I don't really want to, like I said, I don't want to go too far into this and be like, this is what it is. But I want to bring that up because it's the first time you play I'm already say the wrong thing. The first time you played Half-Life, bud. Anyways, so after that, we do know a couple of things, and I want to bring this up. Right now, we know this is definitely something malicious, maybe. It's broken stuff. Who knows? But it looks like it's trying to show something, and that's something I want to make clear because in the actual live stream I had with Happy Humble Burger Farm, I asked a very particular question and also had one of my things brought up that I said incorrectly, which we'll get to eventually. So just note this for a little bit later when we move on. Finally, though, 5 months ago, we actually got some news from TF2Lover himself. Now, something else I should mention is TF2Lover's favorite thing is Spy in the Heavy. But remember his color. This will also become very important for later. Let's move on to some news.
Hello, everyone. TF2Lover here. I wanted to have a little chat with you all today. Lately, I've noticed...
I should also mention, too, there is closed captioning. But for this one, it's not going to matter because it's just him talking with closed captioning. I didn't notice anything when looking through all of this. So I'm going to leave that as is, and I'm going to keep going from the beginning because I feel like I've kind of fucked myself.
Hello, everyone. TF2Lover here. I wanted to have a little chat with you all today. Lately, I've noticed... Lately, you noticed that sniper. That bloody... Listen. I'm dubbing the sniper as the entity. Because, well, it's not only a sniper, but it seems that it takes me so much that it's taking the form of my least favorite class, and I can't deal with it at all. I'm forced. It's not just something normal. It's following me to FM TF2. It hasn't followed me into Half-Life 2. I'm gonna take that as my safe place. We haven't tried Counter-Strike yet, although it's most likely gonna follow me into Counter-Strike as well. But I'm hereby starting the investigation, which I will be dubbing the entity. Real creative, I know. So whatever this entity is, we're gonna take it down and make sure it don't come back. It don't see anything I have. I'm afraid that considering this entity is following me through games, someone told me that it also has access to everything, including that it has access to all the files of the games, which makes me think, what else could it mean? I'll see you guys in the next video, but this is going to take a toll on my regular content. You won't see as much SFMs, mainly because, you know, the entities in SFMs. I haven't tried a Gmod yet, though, so I think that would be interesting.
Now, I do actually want to mention here before, darn it, something he brings up, which is actually very important to understand, is it has not harmed all source games. Now, as of this live stream, to my knowledge, this entity is only in source. To my knowledge, I don't know if that's changed. Anyways, when it comes to this, though, it's all in source games. So TF2, Left 4 Dead, it could be in Half-Life 1 and 2, it could be in the original TF2 or TF, sorry. It could be in a lot of source games. Now, the question during my original live stream that I had but didn't state was, why is TF2Lover getting followed and not anybody else? I did also bring this as a theory that maybe it's something to do with something he's done. But again, as of now, we don't know. I'm going to leave it like that, and we're going to move on to the very next video, which was, after his news, returning to Half-Life. There's a little note I also want to make. During some news, the light flashes. I also wonder if that was Morse code. I mean, it only flashes like one time. I could showcase the flashing. It was right about... I have to like flow through. It was like one time, and I noticed it, and it keeps bugging me. Maybe it's something to do with like maybe how the lighting was set or something else. I don't really know. That just, from a person that really watches this, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting, and then I watch it and I'm like, it bugs me that the light turns on. I have very particular lights in my own setup, so. But that is something I do want to bring up. I just saw in light, I don't know if it's Morse code or something like that, and lighting, not smart here. Anyways, moving on, TF2Lover decides to move back to Half-Life after the Half-Life incident. Let's see what happened.
Freeman. It's not our fault.
It is definitely your fault. I'm sorry. So I want to talk about this because this is a really interesting video from the beginning to all the way to the end. Something I want to mention is the light glare, if I'm correct. This is a definite source thing that can happen if it's oversaturated. I think that's saturation. I could be wrong, but as we can see, it's only happening on certain things. I want to keep that noted because it is very keen that light also becomes a very important thing here in this channel. Something that will be showcased a little bit later. But something else I want to mention is this line. There's a scientist here, and we actually know that this is supposed to be Gordon Freeman, the character we're playing as. But this scientist isn't standing there, and it doesn't wave at you.
Freeman.
Something else I also want to mention is the fact case scenario that there is multiple scientists in this area that normally spawn in the lunchroom, in the bathroom, in the changing center, even all the way back to where he runs the door. But something else is the fact that this entity is still here. Of course, this just kind of like flew off my screen because it's really quick. But this entity is still here. It's here. But if you guys look from the posture it once was to what it is now, it's gone either taller or maybe a little bit longer. It's kind of hard to say because TF2Lover just basically turns around and gone. But then we notice that when he starts chasing him, it's a very like guard walk. Pretty interesting here. But then he tries like the zombie attack. It's really hard to use words, but he tries using like the normal zombie attack from Half-Life, which is really interesting. But we also know that it chases him. But something I want to mention is the final line.
It's not our fault.
It's really interesting. It's not our fault. I wonder if that means something maybe for Half-Life and not the other games. Because later on, we actually find out that there's multiple entities, and I'm going to get this out of the way now. There is multiple entities here in TF2Lover's story, but maybe this one only afflicts a certain amount, and it's not their fault for what they're doing. Maybe it's something else's fault, something we will get into a little bit later. But then we move on to 52 subs. I'm going to skip this one because there's nothing important except for the closed captioning that really just there's not much to talk about with this video, and I'm gonna turn this down. But something else is the ending, and I think the ending's kind of interesting because it says heavy show you so no more. You knew more. But it doesn't really do much. There's not really anything there. It's just kind of a, hey, I got 52 subscribers. Woo! Now, there's also something else I do want to mention. I have not seen this ever get completed. I swear to God, I want to see the quest for Sandwich. I need to. So this was the quest for Sandwich, a SFM trailer for TF2Lover. This is nothing really interesting about it, but I'm going to showcase it. Coming soon. Also, can I just mention, I realized that I've had like this blinking line right here. When has that been a thing on YouTube? Apparently it doesn't like me, but that was the quest for Sandwich. Now, the very next thing I do want to mention is that originally in some news, TF2Lover stated that, hey, what if I try Gmod? What if I try Counter-Strike? Now, as of, when this part came out, we haven't seen Counter-Strike. We've only seen Half-Life and TF2. So with that being said, later on, we might end up seeing some stuff. So what ends up happening is TF2Lover decides, hey, I'm going to go to Gmod and I'm going to go have fun. This leads into Gmod's spooky crash. But something else I want to mention is oh my gosh, that arrow is there. What the hedge? Anyways, also I want to mention Gmod Spooky Crash is not creepy Gmod Crash. Can we change that? I'm kidding. Everything is just fine. Anyways, let's watch the creepy Gmod Crash. Now, that is kind of the end of it. There's nothing else. But a big question gets asked, which is, what is that? Something I should mention is if you guys know the sound, it sounds exactly like the Half-Life Crasher, which I'm going to dub that because that's only happened in Half-Life. The sound of it is what gives it away. That is the Half-Life 2 zombie sound, if I'm correct. So, with that being said, it is then theorized that this might actually be from the Half-Life game. Now, whether that is true or not, we actually don't have an answer, because as soon as TF2Lover flies, he ends up crashing. And that's exactly what we see. He flies away and game crashed as we hear the final sound of the zombie actually coming. And you can actually hear it at the end. And I'm going to turn this up so you guys can hear it. But we actually hear it. It's very quiet, but it's just right there, and it bugs everything. But there's no description for this video, so we actually don't know if something did happen to this. Something that a lot of people asked were questions like, you should react to Braun. You motherfucker. I'm joking. But people started asking questions like, what? Hold on, why is this happening? What's going on? And questions start filling into something that not a lot of people actually know, something that doesn't make any bit of sense. And sorry, my dog is whining in the background because she wants out, but she's in timeout. Anyways, once we get done with Gmod Spooky Crash, it seems like everything is starting to grow into this giant thing, because the very next video is Sniper Entity number 1. Sorry, I decided to take a giant bite of my hamburger. Give me just a sec, y'all. All right. So, what is the entity? This is a question that now has to be asked. During this video, we actually see a lot of different stuff happen, but not a lot of leeway here. So, I'm going to talk to you about it in each section as we move on. Something I do want to start off first is the question that TF2Lover asked. Why is he waving, and to who? Now, we actually see him turn to look at the character, who is TF2. But something I want to mention is the fact that he turns, looks at him, and then goes away, like he's trying to make him follow. But where is he going to go? Why would he want to follow? What makes the sniper such a repetitive class to TF2 that this sniper is different, that this sniper is trying to make him follow. Maybe in the other videos, TF2 was only there to be a showcase for the sniper. Maybe the sniper was only shooting to showcase that, hey, I am smart enough to kill you if I want. Or in lane term, die. Ooh. Now, something else I want to mention is the fact that TF2 uses no clip to fly around. Because, guess what? The sniper did too. We can actually see this in the very next section when TF2 finally makes it down. So TF2's looking, he's going crazy. He's like, I don't know what the heck's going on. And then he spots him. He's in the blue base at the capture point, and this is what is very interesting. The fact that this sniper is now going through the floor, something that has not been seen at all since any of these videos. We haven't seen the fact that this thing can fly through objects. It can go through walls. Does this mean that it's haunting different games like that? Is it going through the walls? Is it spawning something else to trap the player in? That even leaves to more questions like, can the Half-Life entity do the same thing? Can the Gmod entity do the same thing? Questions that we have, I really don't have an answer to. And we actually see it here. The sniper ends up going in such a straight line up this staircase, and it's very smooth, but he's going through these walls. And then TF2's like, hey, I haven't shot at this thing yet. I've only been able to spin my gun and punch around. What if I shoot it? But nothing ends up happening. The heavy's gun doesn't hit the sniper. We see zero blood come out of it. And it's there. But guess what? It crashed. Something I want to mention at the beginning of this video was the red base. This sniper went all throughout the whole game of TF2. It went through the whole map. Its game as capture the point is completed by the sniper. It comes from the red base, it runs to the blue base, it gets under the map into the capture spot for the blue briefcase, and then it runs up, makes it all the way to the red base, and basically captures the intelligence. Something to mention is it crashed as soon as the sniper reached the same spot as before, or a little bit further on. We actually can't really see it because, yeah, it's pretty clippy, and I'm not even gonna get started with it, but we can't even see the sniper in this shot at all. And before people start asking me, move it up, it's only 480, so don't ask me. But this is very interesting. The fact of the case scenario that the sniper was able to dodge bullets, phase through walls, be able to use no clip of all things, fly from point A to point B back to point A without a single stop, without shooting its gun, without even doing anything except for waving. So this will all be interesting as of now, but later on it actually gets even more interesting as TF2Lover continues seeing even later on and more go on. Now the next three are kind of interesting, also not, but they're just three normal videos, but we will definitely be looking at this one towards the ending for a very key point that I will bring up here soon. But anyways, let's move on to negatory.avi.
Negatory.
Holy shit. Negatory. I gotta cut stream, guys. Sorry. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This has been a great time. I'll see you all tomorrow. Just kidding. Ha ha. Why do I hear boss music? Oh, God. Anyways, that was negatory. That's really it. Boom. Holy smokes. Negatory. Anyways, that's it. It's just there's really not much else. It's just literally, as TF2 says, negatory. There's not really anything else, but except for 1 and 4. It says listen closely, but
Negatory.
It does sound like there's other footsteps in there, but just for the sake of it, I'm just gonna skip it and say, funny. Holy Mr. Beast blinds 1,000 people. Anyways, from there we move on to TF2's normal again. But I want to bring one very key point up. Nothing much more except for one comment we actually see towards the end of this. Now, we actually see the spy being used. Now, something I do want to mention is the fact in case scenario that spy versus AI is not a legitimate thing that you can do just in base game. You have to actually get, if I'm correct, a certain like code based stuff in order to like use, you know, spy or add like server cheats and do it that way to get the spy and the sniper. I want to make that clear because this very next part is just really interesting. Everybody go medic. Now, as a reminder, you can't just say everybody go medic. Like, I've tried this before and I still can't get it to happen. So TF2Lover states it. Now look up here. Look, medic. All these guys are dying. We have a sniper. Medic. So everybody starts turning into medics. Why? We never see any sort of talk at all through this whole thing. In my original thing, I actually showcase that there is nothing here. And there isn't. And of course, as everything's going on, my Wi-Fi wants to be dog shit and not want to work with me. We never see anything kind of happen. Not a single thing. He's never stated anywhere else in this whole video, hey, I want you all to be a specific class. Go this. Until the end of the video where he says, everybody go medic. So this entity is hearing out TF2. He is totally listening at all times. Very interesting, but also very scary because as we see this title be, it's apparently normal again. This is not normal. When you say everybody go medic, it don't really work like that. And you could test it right now and it wouldn't work. Now, of course, if that changed because, you know, TF2 constantly changes. And I mean, like I could pull it up, but, you know, I don't have Steam open. Anyways, that's very interesting. We're going to keep that in the back of our mind. Now we're going to move on to MEA. I'm going to say it like that because it's very keen a little bit later on in the video. So without further ado, let's get started.
Maggots!
Wow. Wow. That's cursed. Wow. It is basically just motion editing. That's about it. It's just an animation. Really cool, quick, cool, interesting thing. So, awesome. That's about it. Now, the biggest thing, though, that ended up happening is TF2Lover asked for questions. So, we gave him questions, lots of questions, some that haven't still been answered, but I want to go down to the description or the comment section because people started asking questions. Only 2 were actually physically answered. One by Playful Pixel, which is have you tried deleting the infiltration folder in Half-Life, and TF2 should affect the haunted issue according to old TF2 threads. TF2 then asked, do you have the link to the thread? He then stated, sadly no, but it's somewhere on the archived library. Wow, thank you, Playful Pixel. You've done a job for TF2. You've now made him look longer. But one question has everything up in arms. The question was by Captain Create. And I am actually going to zoom in on this because it is definitely the most interesting question he could have ever asked. He asked, question, what are your opinions on Valve's ignorance towards the bot crisis? He then respond, bot crisis? Like the training bots? What could they be doing wrong? What could they be doing wrong? Bot crisis? Wait, hold on. Huh? Now, suspend your disbelief for a second. Holy smokes. What do you mean a bot crisis? This has been going on since 2019, you know, since COVID was a thing. What do you mean? I really actually originally, when I did my live stream on this part and I saw that question, I wanted to respond with, just wait till 2019. Just wait till 2020 when COVID-19 comes out. But I wanted to not do that and be a dick. I thought it was going to be funny, though. This raises so many questions, though. Like, what do you mean a bot crisis? How do you not know about it? It's 2020. It's 2024. We've known about this for years now. It's been months since everybody's been talking about it. We have all been here. How do you not know about the bot crisis? And then it clicks. What year is TF2Lover from? Holy shit, guys. What year is he from? What do you mean, bot crisis? How do you not know about this? This question will go unanswered until later. But what do you mean, bot crisis? To him, he has no idea. He doesn't belong in our time. He's not here. He hasn't seen our memes. He hasn't seen anything. He has no idea what sort of world events are happening outside of his own because he's not from this day and age. 2024 is not him. He's from somewhere else. But when? What time? What day and age? What year? What year is he from? Because he has no idea about a bot crisis. You're a bum munch. I'm talking to my dog, sorry. But what year? This question is going to go unanswered for now to suspend it even longer. But a question that has only been there. Now, all the other questions are pretty interesting, like what is your favorite team, blue or red? Some other ones like, do you ever think they'll add a 10th class to TF2? Some other stuff, but none of these questions have been answered except for these particular two. So I want to leave that for now because later on we'll get into more of it. Now, after we end up giving questions, we actually go into the spy dance. Now, I have talked a lot about this, but I'm going to leave it at the part that actually matters. So let's watch it all from the beginning, and I will let you all enjoy spy dance.
Ты не знаешь эту песню? Давай пой со мной. I love my sandwich. I love to sing songs. I love the Uber. I love to drink and porn. When we together become a ransom. I hate you, call me fat. We got a stupid hat to play drunk in because you fly bad. I love my sentry. I love the racket grip. I love the Spencer. I'm sucking all that shit.
Don't be an idiot. For me, you're just a me.
Duh, that was good. Anyways, I do want to mention something. Closed captioning is also on. And something I should mention is this is Korean. Something I hate. So, and I did this, and it's down here in the link. It's down here. No, it's not. Where is it? You mother fluffer. I probably put it on a different one. But something I do want to mention, something I will actually bring up, and I have to bring it up now, is I spent a long amount of time on my very first live stream with this, deciphering spy dance. Now I want you guys to all see the amount of sanity that went through my head, and I'm screaming at this because, oh my god, it took me so long to scroll down to English. Something to mention is YouTube does not set up an auto feature. So you have to go over, you have to find your letter, and you're like, oh, okay, English. Well, guess what? Sometimes it's not fucking English. But I have to bring this up because something else that should be noted is in this whole thing, there is a bunch of actual words that get stated to you. And I actually spent the time to actually showcase this whole thing. I spent the time, I sat down, and I figured it all out. And I have my whole section in the notes pad because, oh my God. So I'm going to stop this. It's basically a bunch of different stuff that ends up happening, yada, 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 moving on with our day. So let's get stating into what exactly this word is right there. That word, that fluffin' word, the word highlighted in blue. It took me a very long time, but it is, and I'm going to butcher this, Kinyarwanda. Sorry if I butchered it. And it's that exact language, and translated, it actually states, let's get to know you. Now, something interesting about it is it comes from this, and I can actually showcase it really quickly, but I got to set this all back or it's going to end up looking at like 200%. So if you actually do, I'm sorry, it's definitely...
You should stop playing this game and go touch some grass, you little virgin.
That's awesome. So I spent so long during my very first live stream just going down every fucking thing. Now, I actually did, I guessed, I was like, oh, it probably is like Czechoslovakia type of language, or it has to be like so out there that like I have no idea what it is. So I spent, and I think if I'm correct on the live stream, I spent like 10 minutes, and sorry, I'm making you guys all look at a white screen, but the phrase, let's get to know you, is this whole word set. Now there might be a different one, I don't know, but I ended up spending a long time on this, and I'm leaving it at that. Something else also to mention is during this whole thing, there is 4 music quotes, and that's these little text bubbles. There is la la, la 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 in the whole thing. There's 5 laws, so LA. There is also you and love, and it's all plastered within this whole video, scattered everywhere, like just 1 syllable, 2 syllables, 3 syllables, stuff like that. And you can actually find all of this in the like little annotate and ambience and blah 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 blah. But you can also find this in the little box that shows sometimes when you're like, oh, what's in the thingamabibber and yada yada yada. But this was all found by me, all of this right here, too fucking long, and I hate myself, but also I love finding stuff. So definitely my theorist mind was like going crazy. I'm like, oh, it's game theory all over again. Anyways, that was Spy Dance. Also, one of my favorite videos. Nothing has beat it yet. And give me just 1 second because my dogs are absolutely whining to go out. So give me 1 sec, get some popcorns, get a drink, and I'll be right back. That's actually probably the best timing because as soon as I did that, there was people out there going out. So guess what? I'm back really soon. Holy smokes, that was actually really quick. Anyways, so one of my favorite videos is actually Spy Dance. So really great creative work from you, man. Seriously, I love it so much. I honestly just enjoyed all the voices in there, and I could make something like that, but probably just gonna sound like just Nikolai the whole time. Like, hello, my name is Nikolai Belinsky. I like pretty ponies. Anyways, after this, we kind of have a little bit of a break, about like a couple days. And then something huge occurs. It enter everything that we have known to this point. It's all been very cute, fuzzy, scary, interesting, but this is probably the most scariest video by what it shows. So enjoy entry. Holy smokes. There is not a lot to talk about at all because we actually really don't know what the point of view is, who this is, but we know this is the outside of one map. Now remember this because it'll become very, very important here very, very soon. Now we got that out of the way. Let's move on. As soon as he gets hit, he falls through the floor. But look at his hand. It's the scout. It's a scout hand. We've seen Scout. He's been fine. What has the scout done? What's going on? Why was he looking? Was he getting killed? What ends up happening? And then he hits. And he uses. He tries interacting, but nothing happens. And something else to also mention is there's a figure right there, I think. I think this is a figure. I really couldn't tell during my watching back then. I still think that this guy is a figure and he is coming closer. But we'll be able to get another look at this very, very soon. So I want to leave this as a background point because very, very soon we'll be able to see it. Now, I am going to skip Gmod with my friend. Nothing really ends up happening in this. All the basics is that Gmod, he ends up playing with his best friend, Spooky Ghost. And this is a very important thing. Nothing ends up getting stated at all, except for this. Now this, I also think I found out, which was a just translated word in base 64, which is spooky is here. But I didn't add that in there. So honestly, props for adding it because yeah, I didn't really mind. This just is base 64. Base 64 is, from what I understand, just 64 different words or numbers or something. I could be wrong, but it's 64 of something and gets put into 64 out. So that's about it. It's just a really interesting small little phrase. Spooky is here, but note this because this will become also important here. Not now, but definitely important as time goes on that Spooky is here and not just a part of TF2's game, but also a part of what ends up happening to TF2. So in my eyes, that kind of ends up being really relevant. Now, what ends up happening? Well, after all of these videos, we actually see an capture point. We see the sniper captured, the first time we've ever seen it. So let's watch. Entry captured. What just fluffing happened? All right, there's a lot to talk about in this, but something I want to mention is the same reappearing character, our favorite friend, TF2. It's the blue heavy. TF2 loves heavy, but I think his favorite color is also blue. In this series, I don't know if that's wrong, but something else to mention is this face does not look right. And also, the sniper's glasses are red here, so it could be a representation of him getting pissy. Something else I want to mention too is as soon as we cut back, this is also from the heavy's point of view, I should make that clear. Once we point back from out of frame into heavy, we actually see him come and eat the heavy, or maybe just kick him out of realm. We don't really know as of this video, but maybe eat him is the exact words we should be using. Once he's eaten or kicked out, he ends up moving back to his same point, which we actually see here a little bit later. Of course, I'm going at like 0.25, but nothing ends up happening during this point except for the very, very end. A very significant point here. Hopefully you can get it really quickly. Oh, stop! What? This entity just split into 4 entities. Now, something I should have mentioned early on is the fact and case scenario that we have a Google Doc. Now, I mentioned this in the whole thing, and you guys have already seen it, but holy smokes, there is more than just one entity. This video is showcasing this entity set right here. there is more than one entity. We have one, we have two, that we have three, we have four. There could be hundreds, there could be only 10. Who knows? But we know that this sniper in this center box has just eaten our best friend. Now that'll become relevant because very soon in one of these things, holy smokes, they'll be there. But something else that TF2 stated in this, which is very important, he didn't upload this. Hold on. Wait a minute. He didn't? Wait a minute. Huh? Something else to mention is somebody caught onto this whole TF2 bot ad stuff, which is try using TF bot ad command. It spawns a training mode bot. I assume training mode was added somewhere during 2015. It requires cheats. Now, I actually don't know if this was ever attempted yet. I would love to just leave it like it is, but all interesting stuff. But we should go back to what TF2 stated. He didn't upload this. So then, who did? Now, there's many different words that end up getting used, added, taken out, anything that you could state in your mind. But guess what? If he didn't make this, does that mean that these entities have control over than just what we know? Do these entities have more control of their surroundings, their environment? Or are these entities so smart they already know how to move through more than just games? These are questions that we have but don't have an answer to because we don't know. We've never seen this. They get captured, but is this really being captured? This wasn't done by TF2. Could have been spooky. Who knows? But we wouldn't have an answer to that because this is the title of the video. He couldn't have just uploaded it as TF2 enemy captured. No, it's just left as entity capture. Very basic words here in this video, and title especially. And with no audio, this means that this entity might not have control over audio as of yet. Keep this in mind, but definitely an interesting point. Once we get done, we actually move on to the very next thing. TF2 decides that he's going to return to the beginning of all this mayhem, to Fort. You know, I'd also help. I'm sorry, I just now realized I've had this on the wrong thing. I'm going to reset. Enjoy returning to 2 Fort. There is a lot to take in. We're going too far. Go back. There's a lot to take in, but there's also nothing in this video that's interesting, except for every single sign and most important prop has missing textures. This is definitely significant, only because it's missing. Now, I actually don't know if that's a reflection part that's missing or if it's the actual sign. I think it's the reflecting part because it's only on certain props, but we actually don't see it anywhere else but signs, lights, and rails. We actually see it here. TF2 walks over, looking around, and then he looks down the corridor those rails are also missing. So it seems like all metals are missing their textures. Now, there's nothing here that I noticed. Now, of course, the comments could have noticed it, but like this light is missing textures. But nothing ends up happening until we hear the cow moo. Now, this cow moo was also present during the other time we saw the entity when it was running around the map. It was mooing around. So, why is the cow mooing? Is the cow significant? Is the cow just a sound effect? Is the cow alerting the entity that somebody else is here? Who knows? And on top of that, we also had ones and zeros. Now, if I'm correct, I did this one in theory, I think. Yeah, to this thing. And this was also a part of something I found that was interesting and just unique because this led into the very, very first episode or video outside of this.
Be advised, you should stop playing this game and go touch some grass, you little virgin.
I'm going to turn that off because I've forgotten twice now. And off. So this was the very first video that was uploaded that was unlisted called Replication. This is something interesting because we don't actually know what this entity is. But what do you mean replication? What's going on? Let's watch this and let's see together. What the heck? Huh? What? Now, I know a lot of you guys just saw this and going, okay, well, buggers, I don't really know what you mean. Think about it. Where's this room? Well, Bug, this room is the... Wait a minute. Yeah, we saw this room. This has to be the same room. The same room as entity capture. But what's going on? It starts as the sniper. Well, the video title states it best. It's replicating other entities, other bodies, other forms. It's moving on. We see it right here. It's the sniper entity. Now it's the scout entity. Now it's the medic entity. And two are one man. The one man that was killed by the sniper on this same very circle. The heavy. The heavy was the only, and I'm going to call it creature. It's the only creature that we haven't seen replicated. But also, who killed the heavy in entity capture? It was the sniper. The sniper killed it. The sniper ate it. It wasn't shoved into a void. It was eaten. It was replicated. It was used so that it could get closer to others or other people or real people or maybe other AI. Who knows? But it's attempting to replicate this heavy. It's attempting to create something that it is not. This entity is the sniper. It's the sniper entity. We can see here between these two. This is the heavy. This is the sniper. Heavy, sniper. Look, it's trying to replicate a sniper's form, but as a heavy, something it can't do because the heavy is, well, heavy, of course. But it's trying to replicate something it is not. This is the most interesting video because it's replicating entities or creatures that aren't itself. It's trying to create more and also showcase that replication form by using other creatures, by using other entities, by creating and melding into more than just a sniper, more than just a scout, more than just a spy or a medic or a engineer or a demo. Who knows what this thing could turn into? It could turn into Gordon Freeman. It could turn into the security guard. No. Wait a minute. No, that makes no sense. Then how could the security guard also be here if it's going through everything? There's no way it can't just jump from game to game. It can't. There's no option unless there's more of it. Oh no. Oh God, we've seen it. The entity is getting more powerful by taking out other creatures, by forming itself into this creature, by attacking TF2Lover. There has to be a way to stop this thing, though. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't, but we don't really have an option, do we? It's been captured. It's been taken care of. It's been dealt with. This thing is replicating from just the sniper to everything else. So with that being said, the return to 2 Fort was more like the return to something far, far worse. This entity is getting more powerful. This entity is growing. That leads us to Elonging, one of the most interesting videos yet, because it's not over till they say so. Hold on. What the fudge just happened? What did we see? So many questions, except for we don't have to ask any more questions here. We know what we saw. The sniper entity is acting just like the security guard when TF2 returned to Half-Life. One question I've always had is this entity far smarter than what we actually let on to believe? And I think that answer is yes. This entity can harm other things. And something else I want to mention too is, if you guys remember from the first one that we saw, Secrecy, I think it was called, we actually know what this is now. Look, as soon as he turns this corner, that error is very close to where this is. Those pipes were right there. There was a demo man in this area, somewhere in this zone. So we know what this scout was looking for. But what map is this? The true answer, Dust Bowl. Now, I actually sat down and I did do this. It is Dust Bowl. Dust Bowl is the one that actually caused this, because we actually see it time and time again. And not just that, though. We know Dust Bowl for all it is. We know exactly what map it keeps using. Something that makes no sense, but also makes viable sense, is if it was Dust Bowl. Now, Dust Bowl isn't the answer for everything, and that is definitely the choice. But it seems like Dust Bowl and 2 Fort are the two biggest maps being used right now. And holy smokes, I just tried jumping screen. But Dust Bowl and 2 Fort are two definitely biggest things here. And that's interesting because it's kind of like just silly, I think. I don't really know what else to say, because there's so much about Dust Bowl, there's so much about 2 Fort that we know, but this creature is using it to its advantage. But on top of that, we also don't know who this person is. Is this AI? Really don't know, but what we also know is it turns around this corner and we can actually see all of the props. So what ends up happening in TF2 and I'm going to show this with the image, is in TF2, if this zone, that's not the right zone, but just go with it. If this zone is not actually freed or opened, all of these zones are actually not loaded in, right? When they hit a certain checkpoint, this spot starts loading in all of the enemies. In this case, we'll say, I think it's red that's defending, or blue, whatever color, and they actually get pushed back to the next point. And that's how that works. It's like a giant line. Here's point A, and we'll use 16 here, and we'll say 8 is the number. When they move from 16 to 18, they move back to 8. When they hit 12, they move up back to 4, and so forth until the game is completed, or the part of the map is completed. It's in 3 sections, but yada, 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 we get the gist. But this is interesting because this is an unloaded zone. This zone is not even loaded. We actually could see through the map here, here, up here, over there. This spot is still capped by red, and we see all of the add-on assist shite that actually helps TF2 to work. We also know that this zone is definitely used by him, by the entity. I should make that pretty bloody clear. So what is with this Dust Bowl zone? Why is Dust Bowl the area he decides? I actually still don't even have an answer to that. But once we move on to the biggest thing. And sorry, I said that one wrong. The one I was thinking of was entry. Sorry. But we move on to the next thing. I'm never going to say this. I'm not going to say this. I'm not even going to try. This part is the most important part possible, because here is that error sign again. Here is those ductworks. Here is all the assets here. We know what this is. This is
I slept in the corpse of water buffalo tougher than you.
what just happened. We know this map. We know the whole zone. We know what this is. Why did we see the scout here? Oh, wait a minute. We've seen him before in entry. We saw him get hit. We saw him get bitch slapped. Holy crap. It's making sense. He falls, it moves down perspective. He comes through the clouds just like God would, and then he dies. But something else I want to mention here.
In the corpse of water buffalo tougher than you.
It's the sniper's voice, and on top of that, we actually see something so crazy that I have to slow this down and be very keenly prepared, because this happens so quickly at the very end. It is very hard for me to time. Hopefully I time it the first time. Dang it. You guys see it. It's the sniper. And something I should mention is this huge tendril thing. It's most likely his arm or his fingers. This is the last frame. This is the sniper's shoes, his lower half of his body, maybe his fingers or arms. It's pretty hard, but then it cuts because we actually don't know what happens. This is a very interesting video, only because the fact of the case scenario is that we now have 3 different things happening, maybe simultaneously, but 3 different things. We have the scout getting pummeled, the sniper finding the other entity, and this entity, this invisible entity, having its little jokester arc, as I'll call it, and ends up getting eaten or maybe kicked out or destroyed by the sniper. It's really interesting stuff, actually. It's kind of intriguing, but who knows exactly? This doesn't really give us a picture, but it looks like that this invisible entity is hostile. Something I do want to actually mention that this invisible and the scout are actually probably hostile versus the sniper that hasn't really been hostile towards us yet, and the security guard that has been hostile, but only in crashing a game. But, it's nothing really like we've known yet. But those are the entities we've seen as of, well, now. It's been a crazy amount of time, and then eventually we are able to capture it. Now, unfortunately, I really wish we had more knowledge on capturing it. That is my only gripe with this series, is apparently we captured it, but we captured it twice, except for this one wasn't really captured by us. But apparently we've captured it. We really don't have other information. This is apparently done with the help of, if I'm correct, it was one viewer, I don't remember his name, but I think it was Potato 47 or something like that. Anyways, TF2 and Potato captured. I think it's Potato. I could be wrong. Don't quote me though. I'm probably wrong. I'm just gonna say TF2 captured it. But TF2 captures it. How, why, what, when, where, we don't really know. I'm not even gonna try putting my 2 cents in. This is the only part that's kind of a little fuzzy because, well, you really don't know how it ended up happening or even how it decided to get captured. But the sniper's here. It gets captured. It somehow survives everything it's been thrown at, surprisingly, and everything it's done to us. So let's see what happens. What the world just happened? Hold on, let's go back. Let's rewind the clock real quick. This is very interesting points to make, but there is definitely something really weird about this video. The fact case scenario that we captured it, we put it in this nice little holding cell, by the by. I really like that little added section. Now, I should mention, this is not a normal map. This is a pre-made map in Hammer, if I'm correct, that TF2 and this other person did. Again, I'm probably wrong. Don't quote me. But this has totally been a very interesting thing because they capture it, they put it in the cell, and they move on. Now, there's not really anything that ends up happening. Shooting doesn't do anything. It doesn't hurt it. It doesn't do anything. But I want to draw to the end of this video because this is the most interesting. He walks up. TF2 walks up. He's going to smack it in the face. He's getting prepared. He's getting ready. And then he pulls the trigger only to then get looked at. Something very interesting happens at the very end where he gets looked at. There's no way I'm going to be able to show that really like keenly, but he looks directly at TF2. You can see it here. He starts looking. He's getting ready to hit. TF2's ready. He pulls back. He's about to swing, and the sniper looks at him. Now, I actually don't know what ends up happening. I do think it did crash, and I think that's the only thing. But, we kind of don't have any information here because the only thing we have is we are a step closer to getting rid of this entity. Yippee! So, who knows? And also, it just pushed me back because I was trying to showcase it, but it didn't want to work. Now, we actually still don't have anything. Even now, nothing ends up happening. But another question gets asked here that is very interesting by Riker. And he says, "Hi, I think this may be related to Interloper, a guy who was mad at me for saying this could be a crasher, but it may be. Also try making questions hammer with a yes or no square. It can help you figure out what it is." Now, something that actually TF2 does state is, what is this interloper and crasher crap? Now, as a reminder to everybody that has been watching so far, one thing that we don't know is what year it is for TF2Lover. And something else is, bro stopped him from telling a person stuck in 22. Wait a minute. Even he has the same idea. And then Cheese comes in here. It's naive. I'll break the time. I know. So some I probably missed, and I most likely did, is TF2Lover is actually from 2016. That is the whole thing. And I think it's actually asked again a little bit later on, but it could be wrong. But he gets asked. So we end up seeing it. Holy smokes, it gets captured, but then it ends up breaking the computer, escaping capture. Man, what such a hard day for Mr. TF2. Let's see what Soldier has to say about this.
If God had...
Well, apparently it wasn't anything important because guess what? Yeah. Also, I should actually mention here, some very ends up happening at the end. And I want everybody to listen to this.
God had...
So, sorry, also it's going to be really loud. Enjoy. I still cannot, to this fucking day, I have tried everything in my knowledge, everything in my editing brain to figure this part out. The part that's been making me lose my shit. This sentence, I still cannot break it. And I need somebody's help out there to tell me what this is because it's so quiet. But listen very closely. It says something, and I don't think anybody's been there, but you know, oh my gosh, dude, awesome. Such phrases like, oh my God, so scared. Or if God had, he was just happy. Soldier forgot to update his drivers. Stuff like that. But something else to also mention was a very good question by That Cool Nerd. And that's not nerd, that's NRD, but we'll say nerd. Is there a Google Doc to document findings? And TF2 actually states, I'll make one. And that's exactly our next point. This voice line, though, still breaks me. It frustrates me that I still cannot to this day figure that one out. Hopefully somebody finds that, and hopefully somebody watching will be like, hey, I must pull a game theory and figure it out, because I cannot with my editing software, and I am too silly and stupid. Now, we actually did I showcased this. There's a Google Docs in the description, and this is the actual part that ends up pulling. Nothing ends up happening, but a kind of another question. Hey man, did you fix that Half-Life 1 glitch yet with the security guard? And he responds, I haven't opened Half-Life. This is definitely a question. Now I'm going to move on to the Google Doc. Now the Google Doc is very interesting because there's certain things that end up happening, but this Google Doc is also very interesting because it actually holds some very interesting stuff. So TF2 made a Google Doc, and this is exactly what his findings were. He knows that there's multiple entities. The entities cannot go to Half-Life 2 as of yet. Entities upload videos on his own channel. This is definitely something crazy, but now we actually know that these entities are able to upload videos on the channel. There is an invisible and a scout entity that are enemies of one another, or maybe tricksters or something along those lines. The entities can shapeshift, something we saw in Replication. Gmod is not able to open at all after this crashing spree, so we haven't been able to see anything with Gmod yet, and TF2 training bots are definitely sentient. Something I mentioned about the TF2's normal video is the fact case scenario that the TF2 bots are in fact listening. So, well, guess we got some problem there. Now, something else to mention is his friend, Spooky Ghost, and his YouTube channel is a part of the investigation. Now, we are actually going to check him out after this part, but nope, part. Anyways, our findings, which is, you know, our findings. Some part here that didn't really make sense to me, still kind of doesn't, is none, but if I do, it crashed my PC. This should be like up here, right here. Because, well, this isn't my PC. It won't crash for Gmod. I'll boot it up right now. Anyways, some notes too is Potato 47's note, which is, what can you just make videos made by entities unavailable? And then he responds, well, me and all of you are investigating these, so it's better if we keep them up with then this long list of letters. I do think the entities have a chance to type, maybe. And then my thing, which is this, I don't know this part, but this is a video idea. This was my little thing to the Kinwanda to English. And then in the actual Spies Dance, we have You Love La 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 and music 4 times. And then the actual video clip itself with replication. Now, all interesting stuff. And as of now, nothing has been added. Even then, I have spent probably the most amount of time on this. Even on my off time, I'm still watching it and trying to figure all of this out and trying to do this, but I'm trying to also, you know, continue work on other things, and this is getting in my head, and it's blah, blah. Anyways, that's about the Google Doc. There's nothing really else to add. The Google Doc has not been added to. Nobody has found anything out of now. Nothing really to mention here. Something else to mention is the subtitle box and the comments and description have been the only key things here as of now. See, the very next video is actually a reversed video. Guess what, everybody? I spent far too long also on that, and I am not going to go over that again. So, here it is. Ta-da! Yay, I did it. Now, in theory, it actually works for me, but I'm going to showcase the original, and then I'm going to showcase the reversed, because also I did a little oopsie-whoopsie on my original one, and I will explain in a little bit. Are you joking me? Please don't tell me it just, like, stopped. What? Huh? Huh? No! No! Did it actually, like, crash? Am I, like, crashed right now? No, you're joking. No, I'm still up. I'm still going. That is, like, so cursed on my behalf. There's no way that this entity could get to mine, right? Oh, I might have just fucked myself. Oh, no. Anyways, let's actually watch it now. Just kidding. There's nothing to this. There's only closed captioning, and I'm going to leave it. This is in Arabic, so funny. Anyways, on to the actual thing. Okay, hold on now. We actually have a lot of information here and not a lot of other things. Now, I do actually want to mention that this is also the part where he ends up, you know, putting back everything. But this right here is very interesting because I actually don't recall this. I bet this is base 64. And I'm going to look that up right now because I honestly want to state that this is decode. Okay, so I actually don't recall this. It's right here. It's 2 months ago. So this is definitely something I don't actually recall at all. Now, of course, I don't recall it, but that doesn't mean anything. And I just did it right now just so everybody can see. So what it says is, what really is anything? Does anybody know? So how about we, and then it cuts off. But something else to mention, if this wants to work with me, is one thing. The actual closed captions. Now, it actually states SV. Well, it actually starts with applause. Ha! And then it goes SV. And that's it. So my question then goes, instead of this saying, you know, what we have, what if it ends with this? Something that I actually don't know is SV, and I still actually don't know the definition or what the words are for SV. So maybe something later on will bring that up. I'm not gonna sit there and lie like, oh, okay, cool, but that ends up happening. Well, this is in reverse. Or I should actually mention this is backwards. Way backwards. Oh yeah, I actually have the original clip right here. Here's what it says.
We've been watching your progress. You are closer than you think. We can get rid of all the progress, so be careful.
Okay. Now that this is done, I have to go with my little oopsie whoopsie. Now, something I mentioned originally was the fact case here that, oh yeah, yeah, I did a little oopsie whoopsie. Yeah, here it is for people that don't know, and I'm going to zoom in on the part. In closer, the sniper doesn't say purpose. It says progress. Shit. So in the part that I was originally talking about, I said in this section, and you guys can listen again.
We've been watching your progress. You are closer than you think. We can get rid of all progress, so be careful.
So he's saying in this we can get rid of all this progress. We can do it all. We can destroy everything. And I thought he said purpose. So yeah, my little oopsie whoopsie here is me saying purpose. It's not. It's progress. Haha, silly me. Whoopsie daisies. Also, you guys also have to think those videos are like 3 hours long, and I can actually prove it to some people because some people don't believe me. Here, you want to see the funny thing? Because everybody is, and I just showcased a lot of different stuff. And because, yeah, that's really funny. I could showcase this because when I originally did this way back then, like a couple months ago, 2 months ago, something interesting is this was 2.5 hours of me literally watching all these videos. Then a month later, I was like, hey, it'd be really interesting if I decided to go ahead and watch TF2 again. So I watched the rest of them and theorize some more. And then during my Happy Hubble Burger Farm section, something really weird happened, and I'm gonna just scoot to the end because, well, yeah. But oh no, they turn it off. What dicks. Anyways, I decided to screenshot everything, so I'm so glad I did. Thank you to Bromy, for the creator of TF2Lover. Apparently, thanks for realizing that I am an idiot and not you. But I'm going to bring this up now. The conversation with me and Bromy, the actual creator. Now, there are some parts that I am going to leave out, but for now, I just want to bring up the very beginning parts. I ask a lot of questions during my live stream, and the ones I do remember, I'm going to move on. So, or the ones that I don't remember, I'm going to move on from there. And the questions I do remember, I want to talk about those first and then move on. There are some that I do remember, but I'm just going to leave them for later because, well, I don't actually need to worry about it. Anyways, so the creator stated that, yes, he is a source filmmaker, and it is SFM. That was the actual thing. My question was around the line of, is this SFM? And the answer was yes. So, cool. Something else is he apparently opened it, and that was some video that we'll talk about a little bit later, because it's a file, and I'm stupid and don't realize that it's a file that could be played in SFM. I am still trying to learn SFM. I'm not very smart. Will I ever figure it out? No, probably not. But one day I will, and that one day is not today. The questions range from me being silly to me asking very serious questions. But one question I did ask was, and I think it's a part of this one. I have to make sure if it is. My question was, is Spooky a friend or somebody else? His response was, Spooky is a friend. Also, there is, and it's kind of like stuck there, so I have to actually pull up the other page. Go figure. Because why because why won't you be nice to me? There is a team behind TF2Lover, and this is something to be very, very mindful for, because it's not just one person. It's a team of people creating this. And then I love this ending bit that I had. Does this count as an interview? And I remember my response. I basically stated, well, I mean, I guess. So I'm going to leave it like that because it kind of was. So something else to mention was the use of SFM. And a video that we'll actually get to see here in the next couple of minutes is DMX. And that's the next one we're going to watch because it's going to relate to my question I asked to one of the creators. So let's watch DMX. Okay. Now, there is not a lot to talk about in this exact episode. Now, of course, this is fully blown so that people actually hear how there is nothing. It is pure static. My voice, compared to everything else, is the loudest thing in this whole thing. Now, there's a lot I want to talk about, but of course, I have to leave some for the suspension of belief here that I think this video is the sniper. And the reasoning I think that, well, it should be pretty obvious, but the black circle, the sniper gun, everything about this, we're playing as a sniper, but his movements are so clean, so fresh, so just clicky, right? Like an AI would be. Now, there isn't really much else to talk about here except for the fact that he's walking around the map and then he looks out at the red base. And something I want to mention is back to one of the videos where we see the second encounter, or the video name Sniper Entity 1. If I'm correct, I'm probably wrong. But the time when we saw the sniper wave at us, we actually start to realize something. If you guys remember, this is the same area we saw Sniper come from. And what does he do? He no clips straight across. Something else to mention is his gun disappears and then he's confused. His AI starts working, hey, we got to go back, but then it can't. Now, the part that I'm actually stupid about is this part right here. Now, for people that don't know, DMX has this giant long list. And I said, hey, this might be something very important. Well, that leads me into my next thing. I'm very dumb. This is Source Filmmaker, as I previously mentioned. Well, Source Filmmaker has a very key thing with this file that's right behind this wall of text. Well, it's very important because, well, it's a map. It's code. It's for Source Filmmaker. Now, again, I'm not smart. I wouldn't know how to implement this. I don't know if there's anything in this. There could be a lot of things, but we actually see a bunch of stuff actually in this because this is Source Filmmaker. This is a code. This is for encoding binary into a Source Filmmaker session. But we actually see the number. It's session number 20. I'm dumb because I thought originally it was a giant list from the thing, and it's like, oh, we'll dig through it word for word and find key phrases and do it that way. I was told, hey, this is a file. You play it, you enjoy it, you watch it. So yeah, I was also wrong about that, and I will like to admit defeat when it comes time to. But yeah, something I do want to mention is the fact case I did state that hey, we can just look through it, we can just enjoy it, blah 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 blah. I'm wrong about that. But something that ends up happening though is we actually get a video posted in the actual description, and it's something very interesting. And something else that I also seen is nobody actually mentions anything about this in this Google file right here. So I wonder if there's something more interesting to note in this. And I don't know, I've been looking for people to see if anybody has tried this, but it doesn't look like anybody has seen or done any of this. So, hey, awesome. But I really like this one comment by Fry, which is I'm a head out entity. So, oh my gosh. I also just read this one by Jake, Lazy Purple. These lights are Satan. And that's this clip where the lights are fucking glowing and yada, yada, yada. And that's because it's an actual real bug that can happen. It's called like a flashbang or something like that in the olden days of Half-Life. Look up Interloper if you want to know that a little bit more. I'm not smart enough for that. I played it when I was like 13 and then I fucked up. But something we've not seen at all is videos in the description or even a code to see it. Now we have seen replication, but it was kind of important to have a code behind it. But a role is the very next thing. And I want to kind of really bring this up. If you guys remember Spy Dance, something that ends up happening is 2 key points. Spy Dance has a spy dancing and a song playing. Now, this is really hard because it's really difficult to do this in a YouTube video, and I've listened to this probably about 50 or 60 times now, and I still don't know exactly what they're saying, but I'm going to tone this to like 0.5. Actually, I'll do 0.25. Roll was an unlisted video that was done and dusted. Here is the exact video. I hope you guys are done because, well, this whole video was that's the whole video. But somebody actually is smarter than me because I just saw it. Builders League United Spy. I do not recall dancing in the hallway, but I love it. Something else is this. And so something that is very interesting is holy shit. I honestly think Builders League is probably kind of smart for this. And I honestly don't know if this is anything. I'm not going to check into this because here at Bug I don't really have time. It's already been like an hour or 2 hours I'm going to be doing into this. But this is also very interesting because if this is the case, right, this being Morse code is so much stuff. Now, if this is Morse code, this is going to be a very interesting thing. And I saw this when I was rewatching everything. And I saw this and I was like, wow, this is really, wait a minute, hold on. And I tried spending like far too much time. If this is Morse code, that's amazing. If this isn't Morse code, that's also amazing because it's just a funny video to just listen to. I don't want to go too far into this. It's not going to be a part of my video probably, but I'm just going to leave this as like the side content. This is Buggery Live approved. Anyways, we're going to move back. So after DMX, we actually end up leading into probably one of the most weirdest videos, but the most sense of a video. So let's watch this, which is a reversed spy dance. Hold on. Spoiler. Now, I have closed captions on because this is a very important part that actually makes a lot of sense. This is crazy. First of all, I want to talk about this fact in case you know that Sniper's arm is right here. But look, it's entry. It's where entry was. Look, it's Spy Dance with his hat on the ground. Look, it's elongating with the snipers menacingly standing. Look, it's MEA. These are all from the videos. These are all on the same map. This is what this entity is telling us. It's from Dust Bowl. Maybe there's a reasoning that Dust Bowl is the case. Well, if you actually look back into TF2, the actual 2 maps you can choose is Dust Bowl, and then don't ask me the other one, I forgot it, for the bot suggested levels. Maybe this entity came from those bot levels. Maybe it's had about enough of our shit with killing it and the bot things. Who knows? But it's just interesting all around. Something else is, you know, it was here, but, you know, I love this one comment, like, evil Spy Dance doesn't exist. It can't hurt you. Evil Spy Dance. And it's just funny. Now, something else to also mention is this is another base 64 thing, and I'm actually just going to do this off to the side. Oh, hey, I don't need to because guess what? I already have base 64 up. But something else to really mention is the words that get used here because of this. These words are going to really shock some people. You want to know what the words say? Here we go. The spy goes to the sky. I hate the sniper. He's the worst class. 2 OP. Now, if anybody remembers this, let's go back in the channel and go all the way to the very 3rd video posted. Spy takes flight. What's used there? The spy goes to the skies. I hate the sniper. He's the worst class. 2 OP. This is the same words, the same format in a video that has the spy. The video that has the spy is Spy Dance, but in reverse. Spy Dance is right here. It's just reversed. Then why is the spy's words getting used there except for we know what happened? The very next room is where we actually know where Spy Dance is. Spy Dance came from the next room. The room where we see the entity chase after this other thing. Could the spy be the entity we saw in Elonging? Could this be all connected? Because as the sniper keeps going, it's killing off all these entities. And we can even see it here. If the spy, in fact, was the actual creature in this case, standing in this room dancing, it ran over here, jumped down, and went into this ditch where the sniper is looking for him. Or maybe it's trying to find him. But see, we don't see the sniper anywhere else. If the sniper was still here, we would have seen it. But we know what this scene is from. This is from that soldier scene in motion editing animation. All of these are the scenes we get to showcase. But look even closer. These are heads of different entities or creatures that are most likely dead. Now, these aren't probably like represented right because, you know, some of these are heavy, some of these are soldiers, some of these are medic, one scout or something like that. But all of this is just slowly starting to make sense. Maybe the sniper is actually not trying to harm the player, but harm other alive creatures, almost like an interloper trying to destroy these entities that are too far alive or something along those lines. We really don't know. We've seen everything that has come to offer. These are all there, and that's about it. Now, this is actually the end of part 1, if I'm correct. I could be wrong by a video or two, but okay. So Spy Dance is the final one for part 1. Now, I want to leave nothing. I don't want to leave this part 1 empty-handed. I want to talk about part 1 in the way that I know best, and that is by theorizing. Now, one of the questions I actually did ask the creator, which probably might be here, who knows, was, am I close in knowing exactly what happened? Was one of my theories close? I asked and my part 1 and part 2 of my theories. Something that I got was, you got some things correct about the lore, but I won't say what. That is the exact response I got, and I'm just going to showcase this because this was a really cool and interesting things. You got some things correct about the lore. So I'm definitely right on some things, but also I'm probably not right. But let's go through part 1. Let's talk about why I think part 1 is the most groundbreaking part, because we kind of already know the answer. At the same time, though, we don't know exactly what this entity wants. We don't know its purpose. We don't know its progress. Now, let me go and state the theory that I have. When we first see this entity, something we end up realizing is it's only in the first section. It's only there to bug TF2. Something else to mention is during this whole part 1, it's only TF2. We've never seen another player at all in any of these videos, except for the entities. So something to mention and to bring up is, what exactly does the sniper entity want? What does this sniper want from TF2? And I think the answer is kind of obvious, but also not obvious. I think the sniper wants control over areas in order to expand its growth. Now, that's probably wrong, but the only reasoning I'm thinking that is because of two things. The sniper has 2 fort, and it also has Dust Bowl. The more it grows, the more it can take upon certain sections and areas. Now, I'm not saying that that's the right answer, but that leads me into part 2 of kind of why I think that part 1 is leaning towards that. The beginning. The beginning is where all of this massive crap happens. We see the sniper arrive. It tries shooting TF2, the scout. It's trying to harm an entity that isn't the heavy, until it ends up leading into the Half-Life incident, where this entity is slowly starting to take over more than just a gate. TF2 states, hey, some news, I'm going to start investigating this, only to then return to Half-Life and have the same entity come back and scare him off. And then we move on. He ends up getting 52 subscribers. He starts making his trailer, only to then get scared because in Gmod, the thing that he's going to create this with, of course, he's an FSFM animation creator, but let's just state and believe that Gmod is what he's going to use for some of this content. He ends up going on a Gmod and getting this crash, the crash that sounds like none other than the Half-Life entity. But then we see him finally for the first time. The sniper is back after all of these months of waiting and videos and seeing and nothing. And then he ends up crashing the game. He doesn't do more but to showcase that he is able to go from point A to point B, from point B to point A without any interruptions, without anything other than him in the way. If TF2Lover does not stop being in his way, the sniper entity just crashes him, makes him give up, makes him not believe in himself. We end up seeing some of this stuff when TF2 ends up not really being normal again. These entities are sentient. Even the training dummies are sentient. Something else to mention is some of the videos in between are nothing more but little videos that he's created. But look at the lengths. Look at the lengths, 28, 21, versus some of his heaviest hitters, like 33, 2 minutes. We have one for a minute, another one for a minute. All of his investigations are going into this entity versus his animation versus everything else. And I think that's what the entity wants. It wants him to crash. It wants him to give him more space. It wants him to grow and expand upon an area in order to maybe evolve or maybe change aspects that we see later on with, well, Spy Dance, and then eventually Entry, where we end up seeing the scout entity get bitch slapped from the back of the head, only to fall to its death, only to be saved by the sniper and then consumed by the sniper, because we get to see it later with entity captured, where he ends up showcasing this, and then it gets adding along with replication. Where replication, we see the scout's mangled body and a medic that we've not seen yet at all. But it looks like the sniper knows this, and so it harms the blue heavy, TF2's favorite color, maybe favorite class. So then what? Well, then he returns to 2 Fort. Nothing happens. Well, that's because it's still fighting in Dust Bowl. It's still trying to get control. It's trying to kill these entities that aren't entities. And I think, as I like run out of breath, but I think the spy in a longing is who we're seeing. We're not seeing an invisible entity. We're not seeing a scout. We're not seeing anything because the invisible entity is the spy cloaking. That's why later on we see it in reverse spy dance, right? But then we end up seeing the opposite side of this. This other invisible entity comes up behind the scout. Now, this could be the spy. It honestly could be. We don't know. But what we do know is it can hit people. So it is a possibility it might be the spy. The spy is trained into harming people with less lethal and lethal ways. So it's a possibility that these two videos are the spy. This one, he ends up karate chopping him and then eventually almost getting captured by the sniper because he runs away from entry where he gets hit. That's a possibility. It could also just be an invisible entity, but who knows? Then we end up seeing TF2 finally capture it, only to then just crash and ends up losing all of this progress. And then we see it all crumple. We see Soldier finally defeated and just crumpled to hear words in the background slowly start creeping up and say something that still bugged me to this very, very day. I hate that. I really do. I want everybody to know. Someone figure what the fucking words say. We end up getting a Google Doc of all the information that we do know about this, with what we know being multiple entities. It can't enter certain games yet. Gmod can't open. The training bots are sentient in TF2. There are certain entities that can shapeshift. There's invisible and scout entities, and entities even able to upload videos onto the channel. And we actually see that with the very next one, Closer. We've been closer ever before. We have been able to find everything out, and then we hear the words.
We've been watching your progress. You are closer than you think. We can get rid of all the progress, so be careful.
So it's really interesting. He can get rid of all of this progress that TF2Lover has set out from so long ago. All of this progress that he has done on this channel has been for figuring out what the fuck this entity is. What is it? What does it want? What does it need? And I think that's why the sniper comes forwards. It tells us pretty obviously, don't fuck with me. Don't be around me. Don't attempt to do something with me, because if you do, I will ruin you. I will make sure you suffer. Leave me alone. Leave all of my progress alone. Because if you ruin with my progress, I'll ruin with yours. And then we see it. DMX. It's a very obvious thing. Sniper is running around seeing if TF2Lover is there, but he's not. DMX is the truth. He finally realizes that TF2 is gone. The sniper realizes he's gone. He won't come back. He can now leave the confined world of 2 Fort and move to another map. And then we see this, the ending of part 1, Reverse Spy Dance. It is what it is. We see the videos that are the most important videos. And I think that was the purpose of this. This video is the most important video because it puts it in order of what went first. Entry was first. We see the scout get hit. He ends up going down, dying. Spy dance happens. And that's because after the spy hits this entity, he runs over. He starts dancing. He's dancing nonstop, but then gets caught by the sniper. So then he runs. He runs away. He's cloaked, but the sniper can see him. The spy can only run. So he runs to the corner. He jumps down, and then he runs over to the empty floor. He jumps down from there, but the sniper can always see him, even while he's cloaked. And then the sniper sets on a show. You see, something that isn't really mentioned is Mia, as I'm going to use in this word, said. This video is portrayed in such a weird way because it's very, very shoddy, but it's the only video that is probably the most interesting one. And I want to go back over this in just a second, but this is the only video that I think is the most interesting thing because if we put it into how it happened, it is the most coolest thing. And as I'm like trying to find it now, I can't find it. There it is.
Maggots!
Why is that interesting, Bug? Well, I'm glad you asked, because something that ends up happening here is where he's setting. He says one phrase. What is the one phrase, guys?
Maggots!
Maggots. He's calling out to the spy that did this, the spy that hurt the scout. This isn't soldier. This is the entity. Now remember, this entity can shapeshift. It can do all of this cool shit. It could literally cause a meltdown. Woo! Holy smokes, though. If that's the case, then putting this into order, this would make sense. The sniper jumps down, he runs over, and he creates this one-line thing just for TF2. Maybe this isn't TF2 uploading. Maybe the description that is here isn't necessary because this isn't him. He doesn't even realize this. Let's look at how this is put in. It literally goes in order from Negatory, TF2, and then Mia. Well, then why is it named Mia? Motion editor animation. Sorry, my words just like flew out of my mouth way too quickly. Well, maybe the reasoning is because he has no idea until after. You see, something that really doesn't make sense is the fact of the case scenario that during the beginning section, we actually don't have anything that ends up happening with the entity as of yet until entity captured. So I wonder if this video was actually not done by
Maggots!
TF2. I wonder if this was done by the sniper, posted, and then gone from there. Now, that could be wrong. It could just be the center point. But my original theory was that this was actually in order, and I still think it is. I think the order of this has happened, where Sniper is here, he ends up seeing the spy hit him, the spy runs in, then the spy starts dancing, the spy vanishes away. Of course, he's vanished over there, but he vanishes as soon as the sniper comes in around this corner, which then leads the spy to run into what a longing is. He runs all the way over here, he jumps down, he runs over, he comes from here, and the sniper sees this, so he ends up calling, shapeshifting, and using the soldier. Now, that might not be the exact quote. This could not be in order. Maybe these videos are all set in different subjects. Maybe instead of entry being first, maybe it's actually the spy dance, and then he runs out after the scout, only to then have entry happen. Who knows? But I think the order of this still matters in this way. But again, I digress. Now, the words used at the description of reverse spy dance is also interesting because it's the same words that was used in the third video of part 1. So with that being said, that was part 1. My theory is that the sniper wants to grow. It doesn't want to be left alone, but it also wants to be left alone enough where it could fuck with you if you're not careful. Now, of course, maybe the theory, but my theory still stands. With all the evidence that we have, it could be a possibility. Until not too long ago, TF2Lover last month re-uploaded a Half-Life trailer. Well, sugar snaps. Now, with all these new videos, this actually ends up going into my part 2 of part 1 and 2 of my theories. So now I'm going to stop and I'm going to jump over to Spooky Ghost. I'm not going to move over to Texas Wrangler. There's nothing there as of now. And there is still nothing there as of now that is important. But just know Texas Wrangler will become important later on in maybe a future theory. So, Spooky Ghost. Who is he? What is he? What happens? Well, Spooky Ghost makes funny videos. And he has a Gmail. I hope no one's tried anything yet. Oh, also, I should mention, just for people that are interested in this, there is a Discord. And I'm going to pull it up because there has been some progress made in there, a part of the ARG related stuff that should be brought up. There's been a lot of stuff talked about, but like a lot of this has been really kind of like over the time. So I want to bring up a couple of members that should be noted. The Spy is one of them. TF2Lover is the other one, and Bromy is the other one. Oh, and Spooky Ghost. Some stuff that they have found during the time has been really interesting. One of my biggest things is Potato with an AK, and I want to bring this one up because this image here. Now, this is the, if I'm correct, the decompiled thing. Put, that. But this is kind of something interesting that he found, and I do want to bring that up because this looks like Morse code. Holy smokes. Now, I've also tried looking into this, but there's been a lot. Base 64, nope. Okay, 622, there is some things that have also been brought up, like these location things, and I want to open these up because, it's also very important. These location tabs have just been like very interesting, and now it just doesn't want to work. It's completely crashed. Thanks, Notepad. You're very, very smart. I probably should have not opened it with Notepad, but it's all been pretty interesting stuff that I should mention, and I recommend checking out the Discord because holy smokes, so much stuff has happened. It's really interesting, and I've been trying to keep up as far as I can, but one thing I do want to bring upon is this. Now, this was Bromine, the same person that responded to my questions, the same person that's probably here in chat right now, waiting for me to say something stupid and be like, listen here, little boy. But something he mentioned was, I completely forgot about Texas Wrangler 21. What was his deal? Now, I want to bring that up because, very important stuff. But one thing he drops is this. The sniper powers transformation can change its game model so it doesn't look like just the scout or medic. Entering Valve games, jumps between different Valve games, causing chaos. Now, my theory was that it wants to create some sort of extra world or potential things. This is kind of true. That is until kind of later down. Making training bots sentient. Self-explanatory, don't have to go any bit further. Replication can make copies of itself or other entities. Again, my theory is that this thing wants to take over certain sections. So it's a possibility that this could be the case in making chaos or creating some other stuff. YouTube control can mess with content on YouTube channels. And with that being stated, it looks like this entity has also cut certain things off that I've noticed on the thing, because my original comment somewhere on there is probably missing, which is this, Jesus, I tried grabbing it all, which is this part here. This I probably didn't see because I wasn't looking at comments all the time, but just note that when we continue on. Something else to mention is it's making games unopenable. So now this is a big thing because it's also in the notes that Gmod will not open, and as of yet it still hasn't when part 1 ended. But note this because this could be very important for later on in this series. Of course, by the time we reach the end of the series, I will probably be far gone from it and probably just talk on my live stream with these. It also can make games crash. Awesome. At random or something else. But its weaknesses are Half-Life 2 and Portal are not as strong in these games. So it doesn't look like the entity is fully controllable, but maybe it's only controllable in a first-person shooter game. Now, of course, you could say Half-Life is that, but Half-Life has a bunch more stuff, and it's first-person shooter, but it's not a full first-person shooter like Left 4 Dead or TF2 or Gmod, where that's kind of all it really needs in order to learn. It can be contained. It can be trapped in objects or places. That is something to note because I actually didn't state that originally in my original theories and even in this new theory. And note this because it's going to be very important. And it's vulnerable to non-player and sentient bots. They can exploit its weaknesses. So it looks like the sniper entity can not only be exploited, but can be defeated in a certain way. Now I wanted to bring that up because, you know, today at 7:33, he responded. Of course, this is like really late. And I think this is also because, you know, somebody, no names or initials, the dude in the top right named Bug posted something. And then, you know, everything started happening today. So, like, I'm not joking. Like, everything started popping up on my thing. But 8 o'clock this morning, you know, some stuff was said. I was like, okay, cool. And then, you know, yeah, it ended up just going crazy, and then so much stuff happened, and then it got closer to mine, and then, you know, next thing you know, you know, just saying. But anyways, go check out the Discord. It's pretty interesting. Anyways, on to Spooky Ghost, because this is very important, because Spooky Ghost is TF2Lover's friend. Now, I just said that, but I feel stupid. I'm going to skip over demo scene, because this is just a demo. There's really nothing else to mention except for, you know, that's about it. That's about it. I want to go into two very important videos. 1 month ago, he had a call. I said he, but it's Spooky had a call with his best friend, TF2. The call went a little like this.
What? Hey, I was wondering if you wanted to play with TF2 or something along the lines of that. Maybe D-Melon as well.
That's the reason you called?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm doing right now?
No. I don't. Wait, the sniper thing? Come on, dude, you haven't seen it forever. Why are you still worried about it?
Because it's uploading videos to my channel, but still here, not gone, okay?
Well, just get over it, uninstall your things and reinstall them. Probably, then you'll be good, you know? Like, it's simple. You don't need to worry about this anymore. Hell, you get just a new computer. That will be way faster than trying to investigate this thing, okay?
Well, it's interesting, okay? It's interesting.
Yeah, okay, I get that.
Look. Okay.
So...
how about you hope... that sounds good?
It does not sound good. Look, listen, I don't care about this. If you... friends with you anymore, okay? Just get over it. Alright? Play some Gmod. I know it's not in your Gmod. Okay? Play Gmod with me. Forget about this entire thing. Get a new computer. Etc. Blah, blah, blah. And then we're done. You know?
But if I get a new computer, I'll lose all my SFM files. I don't want to lose all my SFM files.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. That makes sense. Well, put it in a drive or something, and then put it into your new computer, so you have all your SSM. Ooh, simple, done. Just get on Gmod, alright?
Alright.
Okay, I really want to stop right here because holy smokes. Now, we also did talk about this, and I saw it on this screen because I can see it a lot better. And what this part states is very interesting. TF2 states, and this is it right here, dude, look, I'm not stopping the investigation. You got to accept that. Spooky then responds, but you have to. I think it's taking a toll on your mental health. I'm worried about you. Now, before I go any bit further, before I even end up talking about this, before I fully dedicate the rest of my life to this channel, TF2Lover might have a problem. And his friend's right. I'm not even going to sit here and lie about it. His friend, Spooky, is concerned. He's worried about him. He has no idea what's happening because TF2 is the only one that's experiencing this stuff. Nobody else has. None of his friends, none of his family, nobody outside of his friends group, no other person who plays Source, only TF2. TF2's been the only one that ended up having this case. This call with TF2 was very important. And even he states it. You need to just get over it. Enjoy it. And we actually kind of end up getting a bunch of stuff here. And I'm going to turn this down. We actually get the conversation word for word.
What? Hey, I was wondering if you wanted to play with TF2 or something along the lines of that.
And I know this is totally hero, but we just heard it, of course. I'm gonna let that kind of go. But some people don't even like state it. Also, yes, you're right, Potato, with number 47, peak Discord call. I don't use Discord for like calling. I only use Discord as like having fun with some friends and then pissing off. But this call is very important because Spooky's right. He's concerned. He's like, yo, hey, you haven't been responding. You haven't been here. What's going on? What TF2? What's wrong with you, man? You're like, you're not having fun. You're worried. You're concerned. Your mental health is completely diminishing, right? And then TF2 states he's concerned. He's worried that this thing might happen. Spooky goes, well, get a new computer. Delete everything. Who cares? Just get rid of it. I can't. If I get a new computer, it's not necessary. Something that I didn't mention, but I want to mention right now is, do we know if it's connected to your Steam ID? That's a question that should be answered. Something I don't think Bromy, if he's in chat right now, wants to respond to. And that's fine because I've already had my questions answered like an idiot. But it is definitely something interesting to talk about because we actually really don't know at all. So with that being said, let's move on to the very next video. Something else. Now, before I go any bit further, I'm going to pull a fastball on y'all. I'm going to go back real quick because something happened. Now, during the time of this, TF2Lover decides to go live and play Gmod with Spooky Ghost. Now, this live stream was kind of all stated and done, and a lot of questions end up getting asked. Now, I was not there for the live stream. I ended up having work that day, so I did not get to ask any of my questions that I thought was important. All these people did ask really great questions, and it's really interesting. But, you know, something to mention is that this line right here. Something that, you know, Gurman said was, you know, this is actually something I've never seen from a Gmod ARG, and that is a protagonist going live. And this is actually fairly true. Most Gmod ARGs never go live. And I think this is interesting because, you know, there's really nothing you can kind of state. Also, the fact case scenario that this thinks YouTube thinks it's Counter-Strike is also very funny because when I saw this, I was like, oh, the only way you could do that is if you do it personally. Anyways, I digress. Scott the Awesome, thanks, because we also know who you are by that face, and you're on a Discord. Anyways, so he goes live. All right, I'm going to move on now. One biggest thing about this is the Half-Life trailer re-upload. Now, this is a very key thing, and I want to bring this up because this video will actually kind of indicate kind of what ends up happening, but enjoy.
Let's get the hell out of here. Okay, I better wait here and help anyone else who comes by.
If I were a braver man, I would run for the surface. But I'm afraid if the world finds out what we were doing here, Gordon... Well, please, just don't make me come with you. Well, it does seem there is something to chaos theory after all, yes? I hear something.
Okay, why not? Didn't want to die alone anyway. Open fire! Okay, I'll secure this area.
All right. I want to stop real quick and state this is the most interesting video. Only also due to the fact case scenario, we actually have a couple different things here. A, there is a YouTube URL right there in that bottom section. And that YouTube URL is very, very interesting. And you can actually really see it like right here. And this part is so hard to read. And something else to mention is this person states it. We end up, that. So that URL actually leads to the original Half-Life trilogy, apparently. But it's still something interesting to mention here. And the other thing to mention is a couple things. Certain parts that are here, like this F part, is a very interesting thing to happen, only because, well, nobody should be saying anything. It should be like something. But guess what? Closed captions here says F because, F, the guy's gone, rip, sort of stuff. There really isn't much else to state except for this is probably an old beta release of Half-Life. So we'll let that be. Now, what ends up happening after this is very, very concerning, and that is TF2 with Spooky. Now, this will lead into the very next video that we have and also correlate back to Spooky himself. So let's watch.
Come on, man! Come on, man!
All right. Bromy, don't you dare lie right now. I just looked over at the Discord and the new message. I'm not. Mm-hmm. Got some explaining to do. Let's talk about this. Now, I do want to mention closed captions are here. And closed captions don't really do much because, you know, it's just the characters talking, except for the part that actually matters the most. Which is now something I do want to mention before we move on is the fact case scenario that the entity is standing there, but then we see TF2 looking around like he's lost him. I don't actually think that he's lost him. I think he's just freaking out at this part, but it just makes him look like that he's like looking around. He's like, oh my God, he's here. He's somewhere. But we also know the line, it's tar, and then that's it. So he's just repeating himself constantly, but the sniper kills the scout. If everybody remembers who the scout is, everybody would know that Spooky's the scout. To then hear the cow and then be shot. So it seems like something's happened. Oh yeah. Something did happen. Spooky decides, hey, it's okay. I got this. He's starting to play Half-Life 2, and this was his experience into something else. What the fuck? Now, before I state anything else, something to mention about this is what he states in his description. I think this is TF2Lover's entity, but it's in the form of my most hated class. Now, something I should mention is, if that's the case, Spooky's is the engineer. Now, something to mention is the reasoning that certain characters probably are afraid or terrified or hate certain entities, other classes, is because they actually defend against that class. With Spooky liking Scout, that means that the Scout can be defeated by the engineer. And the engineer can set up in such a way to defeat the scout in every which way, shape, or form. Same thing with TF2Lover. TF2Lover is heavy, but the sniper can one-shot headshot and instantly kill everything. And now something else that I completely left alone was this little thing right here. And if I'm correct, someone's already done it. Nope. If I'm correct, this was a base 64 word that was used. Now, I don't really remember if it was. Nope, it could be 32. I honestly don't recall this, but you know, this one thing has gotten me just a little hiccuped. You know, it's something that really is just interesting. Something else to mention is this one comment that was made. You know, I eat more veggies than there are frames in this video. And he states there are 444 frames in this video. Now, when you say I eat more veggies than the frames in this video, are you talking about eating more than 444? But let's think about that for a second. There's a lot of veggies. Imagine holding 444 peas, for example. That's basically a small mountain of greens. And yeah, he goes on. But, you know, something to mention is this kind of part right here. This has gotten me just a bit confused when it comes to myself. Now, these are a lot newer videos, but I ended my original thing off on this. But whatever happened in this one section has moved over to Spooky Ghost. And since then, as of 1 month ago, we have not had any new videos on Spooky Ghost at all. Now, Texas Wrangler, for some people, have not seen anything as of a month ago as well. I'm going to just state there is probably going to be a third part, but in this one, it's all about Gmod skits and his favorite class is, well, the engineer. So eventually that engineer will probably end up running into the entity as well. But for now, we know that Spooky Ghost and TF2Lover has them. Now, something ends up happening. The entity uploads a video anew. Now, there is not a lot of audio. I'm going to leave it like this, and I'll deal with it later. So enjoy anew. Okay, I want to kind of talk about this video really quickly because not a lot of stuff ended up happening. I made a comment originally. Yes, the eating starts now because I thought it was funny during the live stream. But some things were mentioned, but not a lot has actually happened. But let's think of the last video, TF2 for Spooky. He dies. Well, we actually see what ends up happening to Scout. He gets eaten, and that's exactly what ends up happening. And I'm going to mute this because that's disgusting sounding. But something that we didn't see is the spy from part 1. We actually hear walking, and then we end up seeing who that walking is. It's the spy from Spy Dance. Now, I actually want to kind of bring this up. I think my original theory is still right up to this point. But I think the idea of the sniper has changed. Now, I don't want to bring up my part 2 of my theorize just yet. But just note, I still think that the end of Reverse Spy Dance is the actual order of events from the spy's POV. Entries when the spy hits him. Spy Dance is him dancing to it. It then alerts the sniper, going to a longing, and then ends up escaping in a longing, only for the sniper to shapeshift into a soldier or have a soldier entity spawn and basically call the spy a maggot. Because what ends up happening is he jumps at him. One very key point to bring up is the fact in case scenario that this guy had just attacked the sniper. Now, I'm not saying that the spy is an entity, but it is a possibility that he is killing an entity or maybe attacking an entity. It's really hard to state, but Anu is probably the first and only video ever to see the spy attack the sniper. I do think that reverse spy dance is still the order of it, and I will kind of go over in my theory, but I digress. After Anu, we end up getting kind of a break until about 3 weeks ago. And I have been very keen on this channel. As you can see, like these three are still here. And anyways, SR1 is kind of interesting because, and I'm gonna have to like put this back. SR1 is really interesting because we actually don't really have any other thing except for, you know, some random spy. But let's go ahead. Let's watch SR1. Okay. Now, when I originally watched this, I actually didn't know what the heck I was getting myself into. That is until a little bit later when we end up seeing who the POV is. It's the blue spy. He's actually attempting to attack the entity. And something I want to mention is this right here. This is present at the ending. And I didn't see this anywhere else when he's looking through, but it's present at this ending. That's the red spy. Do you remember what ended up happening in Anu? Well, yeah. He attacked, this sniper attacked an entity or creature or whatever we're going to call them. And then what happened? We actually see it right here. He goes for the attack, gets basically removed. And I think that's the phrase that we should be using. He turns, this red spy is standing here, and then he attacks. And it's interesting because it's the spy that's attacking the sniper. It looks like whenever an entity is deleted or something, he attacks him. But also, we should also be bringing up the fact case scenario that the spy didn't even get the chance. This entity is so powerful, it just started, you know? He already knew somebody was there. He's like, ah, this is it. I'm going to eat you alive. And he deletes him. We even see what ends up happening. The spy just completely falls through the floor. It is insanity, man. So that we know this entity is a lot stronger than what we're letting on. We even see what ends up happening. He gets attacked. So holy smokes, you know. We actually don't really know much else. Part 2 has been so far this new entity here and the spy attacking each time this sniper entity is forcing his way into something. So, holy smokes. Then we move on to about 8 days ago to questions being answered. Now, of course, these are all questions, and this is probably copyrighted, so I don't want to get in trouble with, you know, YouTube and blah, 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 blah. But, you know, these are questions that were asked to the creator of this, and these questions are very important. I'm just going to leave the music on because, you know, it'd be funny if I did. But I'm going to see if I can, like, leave a little bit. What is your favorite team? Now, these are actually questions from Give Me Questions, so please note that as we move on. It's very important to understanding what ends up getting asked. What's your favorite team, blue or red? Isn't it obvious? It's blue. This goes back to my original thought that TF2Lover's favorite color is blue, meaning his favorite team is blue, obviously. Do you ever think they will add a tank class to TF2? I so hope. I hope they will. Any tips for getting better at Hoovy? Now, also, I do want to mention a couple of things. Now, the original comments I don't think are written in these ways, where they're one letter less or maybe another letter short. But if we should be mentioning this because it's a question that gets asked really soon, but just note this because it's important. The letters are missing and not a lot of things. Play heavy for a long and you will get good. Looks like my English when I was like 2. Who runs this channel? I love this question because it's just pretty obvious, but it's like, haha, me. Props for answering it like that way too, seriously. What are your opinions on Portals? It's good. Yay. Now, I told you guys, hey, this is what, huh? What year is it? And this is definitely a question I want to very much bring so fucking much attention to. This question got asked, I think, but it's not there anymore. And I can go find that out right fucking now. But this question was asked way back, and I don't know, yeah, right here, by that cool nerd. And I want to leave this to be now. Actually, the very first questions have been here. They're already here. And then heavy. Oh, heavy was written like that. Okay, so I'm sorry, that's my bad. But what year do you think it is? And this question gets asked, and it's asked blunt. And this question sets the tone for what year and how this channel rolls. So what year is it, TF2Lover? What year do you think it is? Hold on. Let's rewind the clock real quick. Bot crisis. What bot crisis? It's 2015. What bot crisis? What bot crisis? Something that has never been done before. Something that has not been brought up in such a way to make you ask the question, what year is it? TF2Lover is living in 2015, 2016. Everything here is being asked in such a way that makes perfect sense. The last question he answers is the biggest question we ever have an answer for. What bot crisis? The training bots? What do you mean? They wouldn't harm you for anything. It's 2015. Almost 2016. It's all being unraveled. We have most of our answers. We know what this entity truly is. It's dangerous. But we didn't have an answer for what year it is. TF2Lover would not know what interloper or a crasher is because it's 2015. It's 2015. What bot crisis? What do you mean? We wouldn't be able to answer that. We know what year it is. We know what to suspect. We know everything here except for what this entity truly wants. But we also know what it wants. It wants to be left alone in order to gather, in order to get more. Of what? Well, who knows? But it wants to be left alone. You mess with its progress, you will lose your progress. And this is something that is actually really crazy. It's 2015. TF2Lover has seen so much stuff happen. TF2Lover has been ready to play all of these new games. That's why he's uploading a bunch of old stuff. Half-Life, TF2. He hasn't touched Counter-Strike. He hasn't been there for Counter-Strike. He has no idea what to suspect. He's not prepared to see anything. But then 2015 is the year, and 2016 is even bigger. Half-Life and Half-Life 2 are out. TF2 is famous. We have gamers playing constantly. We have people constantly enjoying a game because it's all he knows. It's 2015. What bot crisis? Now, I do want to mention that all the comments were made by these people. So, very much appreciated. But something we should also mention is the comments themselves were really interesting. And even though we didn't get an answer then, we got an answer now. And that's super interesting because now we know what year it is for this lovely chap. It's 2015, 2016. So let's rewind real quick. In 2015, TF2Lover had his first encounter with what he now knows as the sniper. The entity starts making all of this stuff, ends up causing issues, and leaking into other source games. This entity is trying to show something to TF2 or create just enough chaos in order to cause as much mayhem as possible. It then ends up figuring out that the spy caused entry, killing something, and then leading it to be destroyed. A little bit later on, TF2 is losing his marbles. This entity is creating videos. This entity has been making videos. It's been creating something so crazy that nobody even knows what's happening. So he captures it. He gets rid of it. He wants it done, but then it escapes. It shows that it has control over a soldier, and it even shows that it has the power to create a video with its own speech. Something to cause the mayhem. And then it shows us the order that everything happened in. We then see as this new red spy ends up causing even more problems for the sniper. The red spy has not been defeated once out of the 2 encounters it's been attacked with. TF2, not knowing anything and not knowing any bit better in 2015, also sees that it's all here. His friend Spooky Ghost gets hit with whatever he has. It infiltrates his friends. It's causing problems. It has caused more problems than it has anything else. And when he states what year it is, it answers so many questions. What bot crisis? It's 2015. What's a crasher? Interloper? What's that? Now, something interesting is between part 1 and part 2. Part 1 was kind of the setup of everything, in my opinion. Part 2 is the payoff of this setup. Because the last 2 that were left were 2 really interesting. Now, Portal 8 days ago was also out. And I watched the whole thing, but I had to rewatch it, though, just for this part. I checked everything in this video. There's closed captioning. All it is just GLaDOS talking. But something I should mention is the frames. Oh my god, there's so many frames. Can I mention that? I'm so glad you have, like, the best tower or laptop. Please, buy yourself a new one. I know that's intentional, but I just think it's funny. But nothing really happened in this video, but I wanted to come here because Fry came back with a really great question. Despite the fact that these games are safe, maybe you should stay AFK in one of these safe games for a bit, see if something happens. And I think that's a great idea. Just see if it could talk or cause something to happen. So hopefully something does with our thoughts. But he even states, TF2 states that nothing happened in Portal. I think Half-Life 2 is safe as well. So let's see what ends up happening. But then just yesterday, right as I had made everything end up happening, we had a new thing. We had a weird BSP file in the Team Fortress folder. Now, again, I'm not very smart, but hello, everybody. I have recently found a map file in my Team Fortress folder. I have put it into a Google Drive because I'm too scared to open it. And what we have is the same Google folder. Now, again, I am totally there, but something you can do is download it. And I didn't download it because I'm also a little bit scared. But when you open the folder, it suggests Notepad. And if Notepad wants to work with me and be nice, it's going to open into something. Probably not, because Notepad does not like me today. But this is a folder for the Hammer editor and TF2. Now, something I want to mention is Pixelated, and I have to go to the Discord because now this is all Discord related. These two guys, Potato with an AK and Pixelated, have been working nonstop on this. Seriously, nonstop. Now, I want to mention they have some cool ass shit here that they have done. And I am too stupid in order to put anything in, but they have been working on the Hammer bit, and I've found some cool things in this that is interesting. Don't ping everyone, please. Okay, that's just important for ARG. Wait, this looks like Morse code that translate into US. Wait, it is an interesting thing. This is apparently what it translated into. Now, if Pixelate ever watches this, you did an amazing job. Some I am too stupid for. So, yeah. It's interesting. And this code could mean so much more than just what we have. Something else to mention is that they have been really working until 8:54 this morning. So far that he even found an engineer that spawns in the map. Now, Cyber Mario comes in here saying the file could be helpful with a sniper. I have to try it tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. And he showcases this file, which is basically the same thing. So nothing important there. He ends up going in. It's a description of his latest video. I tried to make the blah, blah, 2 more English letters to see if it would do anything. And this is apparently what he has. But I mean, first of all, if you're watching this, you're a motherfucker. Something to mention too is this, if you guys remember, was the phrase I made in the Google Docs that we have here, which was, you know, the Kim Wanda to English. Let's get to know you. I'm going to kill myself. So, you know, that's possible. And then, you know, this keeps going. Or backwards. The alphabet symbol is used as an alternate in the lowercase AA. So, you know, it ends up going into this, and then, you know, the video isn't available. Wayback Machine. It's not archived. Probably irrelevant. Bro, I'm about to ask TF2Lover. I know him, bro. So why would you? That defeats the point. I love this conversation between them two because then, Maid comes in. He's like, and he's, it's absolutely funny. Anyways, it ends up going through and, this is the response we get as of 7 o'clock. And something else to mention is this part, but I can't tell you what it is. I'm pretty sure that in an ARG that led to an all deleted video, mine called Evil Spy, but I deleted it. That's what I can think of. So there is a possibility that there is a video out there called Evil Spy that's no longer there. So we do know something here, and there's a possibility that what my original thought was on that was a little bit, different. So I'm glad that my original thoughts on that was definitely, a little bit different. Now, the Discord's been going off, but since then, Bromine, the person, who kind of was the creator that ended up, I'm not. Yeah, but you're helping. So, with that being stated, that was everything that I have. Now, again, I'm pretty fucking stupid when it comes to the map folder stuff. I'm not smart. I can try in this live stream, but we have been spending 3 hours on this fucking live stream, and it's 11 o'clock at night. So, I'm going to skip over this part. I'm seriously just going to skip over it. I want to kind of put my part 2 in. My part 2 theory as of right now, and this is only with part 2, is once everything was said and done, part 1, the sniper entity was slowly getting followed by the same spy that harmed the scout. Now, that means a lot of different stuff had to happen. But I think what ended up happening is it started with Spooky. When Spooky died, we end up seeing in a new what ends up happening to his character. He ends up getting eaten. Now, what that means is this sniper actually needs to eat in order to survive because it actually still has some sort of hunger or something along those lines that end up making sense to everything else. Now, we really don't know what the sniper's reasoning for eating is, but I think we already know that answer, and that is to shapeshift, to morph, to create a new form of him. Maybe that's why he eats certain things, or maybe there's certain things he does in order to sustain life. Maybe the reasoning that he throws entities but doesn't eat them is because he puts them into what I would like to call a void realm, a realm that doesn't make any sense, or outside of something. It'll maybe like a black hole. Now, there isn't really much else to state because part 2 is only like 7 videos and I'm really stupid for a map. I'm going to try on my off time. Not tonight, of course, because I need to go to bed and I got to get some sleep. But I am going to try when I actually get the time to. And when I do, I'm going to sit down and live stream it and hopefully maybe figure it out. But I really want to give props to the creators of this and also to everybody else that, we're going. But I seriously want to say Potato with an AK and Pixelated are just like two smart people that really don't know exactly what they've gotten into. But at the same time, though, the biggest thing I want to draw attention to is the phrase that they end up getting, which is SNUSE2 is a Navy rank that stands for Seaman Appreciation. Now, I don't think that's it, but SNUSE2 might become a very important thing. It might also, go from there. But something else that I want to mention is the fact, Kisner, that like the Morse code wasn't put in here. And I hope that they actually add this in because, again, I'm just too dumb and I don't really know Hammer too well. I also don't know if this folder could be opened with Source Filmmaker. Maybe it can. That's a question I have to ask myself because maybe this folder can honestly be opened with Source Filmmaker, and maybe instead of trying to go through Hammer, we go through Source Filmmaker and maybe see if there is something there. Again, I don't know how to open it. I'm not going to attempt to open it. I am too stupid to open it. While my brains are definitely there, my brains for Source Filmmaker, Hammer, and all that aren't there. And I'm not going to sit there and lie. I'm just not the most intelligent person when it comes to that sort of stuff. Hopefully, this folder holds something so important, though, that it ends up pushing us into a further understanding of what this entity wants. My theory still stands that this entity is trying to control more than just one area. We actually see it multiple times again, where this entity gets done with one and then ends up crashing, not starting Gmod any bit more until later on when he's able to play with his friend. Or maybe he ends up scaring TF2 so much that he ends up getting pushed back. Now, as of right now, we actually don't know how old TF2Lover is, but we can guess. My guess for age is probably in the range of 10 to 16, only because when he uses 2015, almost 2016, that is also when most people, young of course, want to make their YouTube channel. Not even gonna sit there and lie, I did the same exact thing. But something to mention is how old TF2Lover is, because if TF2Lover is a lot younger, getting these jump scares like that is terrifying. But we also know that he sounds a lot older, so he could be 14 to 16 where he's hitting puberty, or maybe something else. Now, of course, if TF2 is a lot older, then, you know, that really just kind of doesn't help us at all, because, you know, he's older, it doesn't really matter, he doesn't really need anything else here. But it's just a lot of things happening all at once. I love this series, and I still want to continue to create videos on it, but this video is just a wide look at everything, and this will also be turned into a video this month, hopefully, if I end up having the time, because if I get called into work constantly, it's not going to be fun. But my kind of thoughts and stuff with this is really interesting. I really hope that Potato Pixel and AK Potato with AK-47 figure this out, because again, I am not smart. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. But at the same time, though, hopefully something else can get figured out about certain videos that don't have anything. The one that definitely intrigued me was not DMX. DMX is also interesting because I don't actually know what that is. I think it could be Hammer as well, but I digress. The one I'm thinking of, I just talked about it, which was this one right here. I don't really know if this is base 64 or if this could be like a YouTube video. I think it might. So you could possibly change like this watch away. You know, let's see. Let's actually try that real quick. Let's see what ends up happening if we just put it in like this. Probably nothing. No, not a single thing. Ow, that was bright. But this is definitely interesting. It could be a URL. It could be something else. Who knows? I don't want to be like really stingy. I'm going to try one other thing, because I think this would be just a good like test really quickly. And that being this. Nope, it just crashed. So this part really is interesting, and nobody has kind of like figured it out. So hopefully, you know, something gets figured out about TF2 is spooky in this part. I spent all the resources to my knowledge on this one. I really can't go any bit further with my skills and expertise when it comes to this stuff. And that kind of sucks, because the way I look at this is just really interesting. Now for the video, I do want to kind of leave this section in because, well, it's kind of important. My expertise for ARGs or anything else is kind of just as much as I physically know. But when it comes to like Hammer or Source Filmmaker, I'm not the sharpest tool there, and I'm not really skilled enough to kind of like functionally use stuff. I do hope a bigger creator comes in and showcases this, because I think this channel is really worth that time. And I hope soon that they add more stuff to Texas Wrangler and on top of that Spooky Ghost, so that we can get a bigger picture of what ended up happening with everything else. But my theory stands. I hope I'm right. I'm probably not. You gotta have some optimism in there sometimes. This channel is definitely not made for ARGs. This channel is only about gaming and stuff like that. So having this kind of side content here is really nice for me to kind of refresh, make my mind kind of feel gooey and ooey and blah, 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 blah. But I really hope a lot of this stuff kind of gets figured out. I hope more stuff gets added to the TF2Lover Finder stuff, because only having this on here is pretty not interesting. I hope that some things get more updated on there, because, you know, a lot of people are going to be going through and having kind of one main space to see. That is really interesting. On top of that, since yesterday with the one video getting, or the one map getting released, a lot of people are trying to take time into figuring this out, but you know, it's a lot. I'm going to actually sit down, like I said, probably tomorrow, and see if I can figure anything with Hammer, maybe learn a little bit about it and kind of just go from there. You know, yay. So maybe there might be something with Source Filmmaker with this. I wonder. It's a possibility, because sometimes maps can kind of function in that way where, you know, you can just use it as a Source Filmmaker map and something else. Kind of learned that from Interloper. But, you know, I digress. Not sharp as tool. Could be wrong. Probably wrong, because I don't know Hammer too well. But that has been TF2Lover. I've spent way too long talking about it again, but that's fine, because I actually enjoy this. For a channel this kind of big, I honestly think it deserves a little bit more props than what it is. But, you know, even then though, I enjoyed it. I still enjoy it. I still love it. It's really funny. It's awesome. It's kind of actually nerve-wracking for some of these videos. The silence, I feel like, is just a little bit too much in certain videos. But even then, though, silence is also nice because it draws that amount of dread you're feeling. I think the biggest dread I physically had from this was Closer. Yeah, Closer. Closer's reverse audio was so hard for me. And I would love to kind of drop it in the Discord. But, you know, kind of can't, because Discord will be silly. But even then, though, it's a lot of work to make this sort of stuff, and I love this. So I want to give props to the team that's behind TF2Lover and the rest of the channels. They have a lot of plans, from what I understood. And I want to actually go back to the two images I was telling you guys about. Bromine brought up a lot of information when I was chatting with him in my video. And I kind of want to leave this here. Bromine, if you have any last minute comments, go ahead, say it if you're watching. If not, I'm going to read kind of like what I recall from all my memory of that. Just for people that don't know, when I was live for in which I'm live right now for, when I was live for the Happy Humble Burger Farm, Horde of the Max, I had a bunch of questions getting asked. And it's 2-hit takedown. I had lots of questions. And during this whole time, I had questions being asked. And, you know, I wanted to continue on and keep, you know, talking about it and figuring it out. So I ended up asking questions that made the most bit of sense in my head. Well, that wasn't really right, but, you know, you get the gist. What ended up happening was I got let know by Bromine, and I'm probably saying your name wrong, but I'm just going to call you Bromine because you sound like Bromine, the material. But he had popped in my chat during this time, and he goes, "Hey, I just want to let you know that in the DMX folder in TF2Lover, the file is a DMX using an animation tool for a source engine, Source Filmmaker." I went, "Oh, so you guys use Source Filmmaker in making this?" He goes, "Yes, I am a Source Filmmaker animator." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." I opened it. It's the file for the video. Oh, that's interesting. So in my head, minding you guys, I'm also playing Happy Humble Burgers Farm and like speed running the game in order to get all 30 achievements. That was the idea for the fucking video. Thanks. You really threw me off in this interview. because I had to think of questions while also thinking of ways to speed run the game. That was really nice. And it was a lot of fun to try thinking questions while doing that because my brain's like, all right, think of questions, look over, see the answer. Okay, look back. I was like, okay, over here, over there, over here, over here. So DMX is the animation for the video. And then I asked, so you can basically watch the animation in there. And he goes, well, yeah. So in Source Filmmaker with a video of DMX, I wonder if there's something interesting more in there to bring up. And that's just why I kind of stated that maybe that folder for TF might be able to be used in Source Filmmaker. Maybe if there is an animation folder also in there. I don't really know, whatever. Then he states, because I'm TF2Lover, I'm going to skip all this because, you know, the part where, you know, I got it wrong, which was also in here, is, well, I can tell you this, in Closer, the sniper doesn't say purpose, he says progress. I'm an idiot. You know, some other things. You got some things correct about the lore, but I won't say. Something, though, that I asked, which was, hey, was there going to be any more creations or stuff like that, videos and blah, 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 blah. He responded with, also the rest of the gang will be getting more uploads to catch up with TF2Lover. The reason TF2Lover was made, and this was also my part 2 to the question, was, why did you guys want to create this? He goes, the reason TF2Lover was made because I wanted to. That's it. I just wanted to make a TF2 ARG. And I was like, oh, really? That's awesome. I don't remember this question really too well. But the biggest thing was I was talking to myself like, okay, I need to go get this and that. And he drops this on me. And he goes, also, TF2Lover has a Steam account. There's not Steam accounts for Texas Wrangler and Spooky Ghost. Not yet, at least. Okay. Now, for people that don't know, a Steam account is basically your Steam ID that you can use to play with friends. Now, I'm going to bring up Steam because I cannot figure this out. Now, I'm going to move this over. And, I mean, of course, you guys can already see it. But when I was like, oh, so what about Texas Wrangler and Spooky Ghost? He states that, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So something you can actually do is you can actually find people, and if you can actually find people, and I bet you can find them now. I don't know if that's like the question. I tried to find TF2Lover, and I'm probably not found him yet because, you know, I looked at it and I was like, oh, okay, cool. But if you actually look up the name TF2Lover and you look him up, this is kind of what you see. Now, I actually did, I think this is the one, and this is what we know. Now, I think this is the one. To my knowledge, I think this is the actual TF2Lover because there's multiple. But the one that makes the most bit of sense is this custom URL because, you know, TF2Lover for life is right there. So it's a possibility that, you know, this is actually him. There is nothing to this guy at all. And this is something I just want to go ahead and follow really quickly. But, you know, we actually do have some other people that might be just related in some way. Who knows? Like, seriously, I'm not even joking. But I noticed this when looking through a bunch of stuff. Now, I don't know if that's the actual right one. Hopefully somebody can answer that for me. But I honestly think that this is the one because it's Steam level 0. It's only TF2Lover. He's offline. You know, that's about it. Who knows? Those people in there could also be there. But I just wanted to bring this up because this is very important for later on. Now, later on, after this, I asked the question, is Spooky your friend or is he like another person? Because this was before kind of I had watched the part with, if I'm correct, this is like right before I was like, all right, I gotta redo it. I did. I think I watched it before. Hold on. I gotta make sure that I did. I did. So I had watched it. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's really interesting. But I had to ask a question anyways, because why not? But the ending was him asking, does this count as an interview? And then my response was, well, I guess so. And I think that was probably the worst thing I could ever say, because I still have more questions than I do answers. But with that being said, if Brommy's watching this, you're fucking Chad. Still love you. Go check me out on Boger's Live. I mean, you're already watching here, so check it, subscribe, whatever. And also, make sure to check out Bug, because Bug YT is constantly adding, and we had just did stage 2. And of course, you know, I'm going to be making this video there. And I have more theories there and everything else. And you can see my giant forehead and everything there. I still have some questions. I think that's the better term for this. I still have some questions that I don't have answers to. Questions like, is there something that we're missing with the sniper? Is the ARG going to exist beyond Hammer and go out into the real world? Is the other gameplay videos holding something that nobody has seen? Is there something to do with his friends, TF2Lover's friends to be more exact? Was there something existing outside of the Google Doc? Will the Google Doc add more details as we move on? Will the sniper showcase its true intentions? Will the spy constantly keep attacking? Questions that we don't really have. Questions that we don't. The theories that I have created hopefully are close to what I stick with. Of course, that will most likely change. Who knows? But that is it. I have spent 3 hours on this. I am tired as all hell. I still have to go take a shower. And I've probably wasted another day thinking about a silly little ARG in my head. And you know what? I think that actually suits everything. Again, I still think there are certain things I have questions for that I probably won't get answers for. But, you know, as my little interview, I think it was probably the worst interview in my eyes because, you know, I didn't really ask good questions. But again, a lot of people have asked questions too. I mean, we can actually just look this up and just kind of showcase. People have already started, you know, going through this, like IC has, and it's kind of great. I think it's awesome. I think it's really interesting. Like, for instance, I just realized that somebody was talking in background and I thought this was the video. But, you know, like, Man Sam has been doing it. You know, we just have stuff that's going on. And I've been talking about it. I think we're the only three that's been talking about it. But it's still interesting to kind of sit down and go through it and finally kind of put an end to the live stream videos. So that's it. I don't really have anything else. I don't think there's much else to talk about. I think...
Dr. Freeman, I hear you're interested in some cock and ball torture.
I think Gordon Freeman is ready to go to bed. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this. I really hope nothing gets added on as, you know, creating said video, but it most likely will, and that's perfectly fine. I will try to cut it down into like a 20-minute video and like, oh, here's the most important bits. Here's my theory, why my theory stands, why it sucks. But it'll probably be like an hour long. So anyways, thank you guys so much. Me and Nikolai are going to go to bed. Ain't that right, Nick? Nick? Oh, he's got a beer, guys. What the heck? I want to thank you guys so much for watching this live stream. This has been a good 3 hours and 22 minutes. Freeman, you fool. I'll be seeing you all in the next one. I have nothing better to say, but enjoy the rest of your guys' night. Stay safe. Get some more soda. And have fun. I'm going to see you guys all in the next one.
Freeman, you fool! My God, what are you doing? Oh no! 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 Oh yes! This is as far as I go. This is as far as I see.